All right, I think I'm live. Jedi Rich is live at 6:15 a.m. for some reason. Wow. That's interesting. Okay, there's me. Welcome to the stream, I think. Good morning, Grace, wherever you are. I don't pay all this money to have a 9:15 a.m. stream start. That's true. The shareholders will be quite upset. Well, the truth is, I still can't find my one hitter. I don't know what the fuck I did with it. Like, it's crazy that I have one, but I do. I only have one, but I really like it. I feel like it's really, but I don't have a one hitter, and then I also only had two sodas, so. But we're gonna push ahead. We're gonna make it. I'm gonna smoke I got a ghost. I have a like mini ghost bowl. I'm gonna smoke that, I guess. $5,000. What's up, Laughing Cedar? So today's stream, I really honestly, I don't even remember how I found this. I got something else in my algorithm and I clicked on it and then it ended up, oh no, I know what it was. It was an interview with George the Animal Steel. And I clicked on it and it led me to another page and then that was this page. So this is, what's this guy's name? George Dorunda. Now he's got 1.4K subscribers. I checked the rest of his social media. He's not got a lot of followers anywhere, but he calls himself the mega star and then in parenthesis retired. What kind of soda am I sipping on, pimp? Hell no, I can't afford that Pepsi, man. I'm drinking the Big K citrus drop. But anyway, this guy, I don't have any idea really what to expect from this. I know that there are some elements of it that might appeal to people, but I thought we'd at least give it a try and watch it. How you doing, Joe Shabatoni? What did you think about Ben putting the bra on his lump yesterday, Joe Shabatoni? I thought that was kind of interesting. All right, so this is prime time episode number 1. Let's just I really don't know what to expect, but I think it looks like it's worth a look. Any taint shots? Not to my knowledge. Taint shot sounds like it's a like a Diablo skill. Like hit him with the old taint shot. Oh, and this is the very first episode, and I should say too that this is from 1989. I don't have a like month or anything. Do I have this lined up right? I think so.
Hi folks, you know, only 3 times in the history of humanity has a single event, approximately a half hour in length, altered the course of world history. Well, the program you're about to see is going to be another one of those miraculous events. So, bon appetit, enjoy.
Grandpa Munster. As someone who's pretty deep into it and likes all the like dynamics between or like that happen on Thor TV, definitely check out the last Misunderstood. Grace has kind of an interesting energy in it. And then Ben and Grace yesterday were really on one. What's up, bro?
Hi, I'm George Dorunda, and
An interesting energy. Did you watch it, Laughing Cedar?
Welcome to Prime Time, where later in the program we'll be talking.
Like, I'm not saying that like, oh, did you watch it? Like, I'm not saying like, I'm asking you like, did you watch the show? So I have like a frame of reference.
With Rick
It came
and
off a
Alice
little
LaFont.
sharp.
Oh, there they go now. We'll be catching up with them a little later.
I mean, do you feel like Grace acted like her normal self? I'm not trying to be like Showtime. I'm not crafting up a conspiracy here, but I just think she was like, I don't know. It was an interesting energy. I don't know what it was or what caused it. I just feel like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Ben ate so much shit when he found out Ruby's family was getting paid. Didn't he promise to take that money as part of the one of the lawsuits?
About Morgan horses, fine animals. And also on the big show, golf pro Jim Casagrande and my first guest, well, it's Lifestyles of the Polka Rich and Famous with Larry Chesky. My next guest has been performing polkas for as long as I can remember. He's been inducted in the Polka Hall of Fame, and he is president of Rex Records as well as Modern Male International. And the titles go on and on. Please welcome to Primetime, Larry Chesky.
Yeah, I would agree with that, South to West. He did seem a little bit down. She was really high energy in that Misunderstood, which I'm not complaining about, but like, it was just a different kind of energy, I guess. Do you think that was like an effort to be like, the high energy thing was like a trying to show like her hosting abilities?
Larry, welcome to
Pleasure being
Primetime.
here, George.
Well, the legend continues.
You know, it's funny you say that, because just this past week we worked in Westchester County, and I was talking to a woman. She must have been in her 80s, and she didn't even say that her mother remembers. She said her grandmother remembers me. So I go back a long time.
Wow. In the early days, was stage fright ever a problem for you, or were you a natural and you just got up there
This guy's hair is just, I don't know, man.
and did your thing?
I don't know, more or less, though, but I always try to have that Ipana smile, as they say. So when I go out there, it's just an automatic smile for everybody.
Automatic.
And that's the way I feel about it also, truthfully.
Now, you've recorded an awful lot of records. How many exactly? What are the numbers?
Oh, numbers roughly. I don't know.
Ben dulls down that energy, but not as much when he's driving because he's distracted. He brings down the vibe, changes the vibe.
I would say probably we've cut 1,000 different songs over the years, and very close to 100 albums. That's funny I mentioned that, because B.B. King, the other night I saw him on television, he was saying that he recorded about 100 different albums. I altogether, don't forget, George, I've recorded for approximately about 14 labels over the years. I mean, a lot of labels were just 1 or 2 records or something, but
Still, it could be more than B.B. King recorded.
That's interesting.
100 albums. Most people that record today, they have trouble selling 100 records.
Well, I don't know. The only thing is, I've got to clarify a little bit, too.
That could have some merit to it, Candy Warhol. Candy Warhol. I think that's kind of the energy I was kind of picking up on. I thought it felt like it was like catering to chat. Well, I mean, Grace is good about catering to chat, but like she was really catering to chat.
I assume the next question is going to say, how were these records, or were they good, and so on and so forth. A lot of these albums, I'd say probably 20% or 30% were not done under the name of Larry Chesky. I used the name of Joe Pulaski for many years back in the 60s, Stanley Wesolowski. I used
These are some real names.
that name a little bit in the 70s, and we were selling the material under several different names, and it all came out the same way.
Have you guys ever watched that documentary on Netflix about the guy who ran the polka thing, but he also like was running like a kind of like a Ponzi scheme? It was pretty funny. And then they made it wasn't funny. It was funny to me. It wasn't funny to the people who lost their life savings. But they made a Netflix movie about it, starring Jack Black, which was like ridiculous.
And it was basically the same Larry Chesky
Larry
Orchestra.
Chesky.
Yes, Jan Levon.
You do an awful lot of traveling. Where are you the most popular when you go on the road, and is the reaction the same from place to place?
Now, more or less what we're doing is we do our usual winter tour. We usually go to Florida, right after the holidays, right after the first of the year. And we'll do the West Coast for about a week, and then we'll take a little break because I have a condominium down in Miami. And then the
I know
boys
a
will
guy's
do
got a
the
bus
East
like
Coast
that.
the following week or weekend. And we'll do about 2 or 3 weeks down there.
Yeah, it's a really interesting stream. It kind of hops all over the place, but there's a lot of really fun moments in there.
And then the fellows will
I went in there and I thought I was trying to be helpful because there was it looked like they were trying to find were trying to find some content. And I just brought up that OPC had said on the Lowell Angels chat that he was complaining because no one should watch Lowell Angels on the Lowell Angels channel. OPC Don thinks all of the Lowell Angel fans should go to a completely different channel to watch a low restream of Lowell Angels, which I don't understand. Why is she restreaming the show? I mean, I know that she needs the watch hours or whatever, but I just mentioned that in the chat, and Grace went over there thinking that like he was on the show, and then she called me a liar.
come back, and I'll stay for the rest of the summer and get back here to Holyoke for the St. Patrick's Day Parade.
Polka
A place right here in Holyoke. You performed at Mountain Park for a number of years. In fact, you shot your video there.
I like
or
it. I
part of it.
think it's always entertaining.
They
when she
say
gets mad.
that when you talk about legends, they used to call me the legend of the mountain. I was at Mountain Park, I
True
think it
Showtime.
amounts to something over 35 years. And during that
What's up, Dave's channel?
period of time, I could say it was one of the most pleasurable accounts and things that we ever done. Probably, I don't know how many people here in the Western Massachusetts area are familiar with Mr. Collins, but it wouldn't be possible to do all those years unless it wasn't for a person that was very understanding. If we had to go on the road, he would understand, somebody would take our place, and it just continued. And he was just super to work with, and therefore, he must have been, I don't think I would have been there quite that length of time.
Now, who are some of the headliners that you've performed with in your many travels?
Well, before we start with our travels, probably the best thing to start with would be Mountain Park alone. Mountain Park for many, many
Hey, it's me. Sorry, the kitten keeps messing with Rico.
years. We were kind of the staff orchestra up there, and the Welk stars all came in from Sissy and Bobby to Myron Florin. They were all at Mountain Park, and then for a while, not only them, but we had all the stars at one time or another at Mountain Park. But then for the longest time, we did the fair circuit, which included New York State Fair and Eastern States Exposition. We had the pleasure of
Hey,
sharing
Eddie.
the stage with some people as Barbara Mandrell, Bobby Vinton, Sky King, that's how far we go.
Sky King.
King, that goes way back. And there was a young lady, her name was Kitty. She was on the Gunsmoke show. We did shows with her.
Miss
I'm
Kitty.
trying to think of Jimmy Dean, I think, what we did work
My dad met the lady who played Miss Kitty, and he said that when he brushed up against her, that her titty was as hard as a rock.
with him on many occasions. There was just so many over the years, and it was all just so much fun.
Or maybe, I don't know, I was a kid when he told me that story when we were watching Gunsmoke, but I feel like either he did it or somebody he knew did it, but it was a very specific story about he brushed up against, I haven't heard the name Miss Kitty in forever, is what made me remember, but that she had rock hard titties, apparently. What year is this? 1989. This guy opened for Toto? That's pretty amazing.
You have 3 videos out at the present time, and I
3
understand you
videos
recorded the first polka video. What prompted you to do this?
We've tried over the years to be good to the music business, and we wanted to be kind of the first and set the pace for the rest of the fellows, such as the terrific bands of Jimmy Sturr and Dick Pillar and Eddie
Hold on,
Blasowski
what?
out of Chicago. And
Hold on. What an amazing... Can we take a second just to appreciate Dick Pillar? What a name, right? Oh my God, what a great name. Coming down to the ring, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, Dick Pillar. Dick Pillar.
we just kind of wanted to put our stamp at the beginning, and we thought we had some pretty good ideas because of the people that we had producing our particular videos happened
Not polka. I didn't grow up with my parents doing it, but I remember there being I remember being around a couple polka shows, but that was about it.
to have a little
What happened?
a little bit of money and could spend it properly. And from this, I think a lot was learned for the entire polka industry after watching our video. And if you notice, if you buy another polka video, you'll see that they very, very closely follow our lines, which we are happy about because at least we thought.
When I worked at a body shop, I worked on a car of a guy whose name was, and I'm 100% serious, his name was Dick Pillow.
We were going in the right direction, and evidently we must have because people have followed and doing what we are doing.
Once again, you've paved the way.
I don't know, a legend in my own mind.
That's what they all say. So right now, let's take a look at that video, Larry Chesky, and I Really Want to Play in Your Band.
Wow. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Right off the bat. Larry knows what's up. He was a black guy with a he had a Lexus. It was like an older Lexus, but I remember it was in like just cherry condition. It was in such good condition. But it was like, at the time he was like at least 10 years old probably.
I understand the ups and downs of music. I suppose it's not been easy all these years. But I can see from afar that you really are a star, and I really want to play in your band. I played all of your records. I think I know them all by heart.
The funniest thing though that ever happened when I worked there was that I had to do there was like some kind of I just did the prep work, but it had to be painted and everything. And then I was just backing it out to take it into the lot. And I scratched the whole side of like a city water truck down the side of the fence. It was such a clusterfuck.
Another night of fun, and you're back on the run. I really want to play in your band. I swear to God,
Hey Joe, you got to watch that Jan Levon documentary, man. It's like a cult. Polka is like a cult, dude. Oh, look at that guy.
I don't mind playing second fiddle. Oh, I just want to play in your band.
you seem so far away in those spotlights. The starlights have made you so blind. You're not even aware or notice I am there, but I still want to play in your band. You hardly get a chance to talk to me. If so, it's for a second or two. You got music in your heart, and I known it from the start, but I still want to play in your band.
I swear to God, I only want to
big stand-up bass.
I promise you I'll always do my best. I don't mind playing second fiddle.
Oh, wow.
I just want to play in your band.
Speaking of, whenever you talked about the perfume, it made me remember back to like when I was a kid and I would go to like the bingo hall. It was back when you could smoke and shit in public. And there would just be a fucking layer of smoke everywhere and like old women perfume. Ugh, what a nightmare. Hey, man. What's up, Reptilian Richard?
If there's a chance that you could feel
hello.
it in
Oh,
your
man,
heart.
she even got the green shirt on. Wow, let's go back. Let's check out Polka Grace. Wow. She's got the sunglasses. She's got the green shirt. Wow.
I pray the Lord you
Polka
give me
Grace.
just a start, where applause is the game and rewards are fun and fame. I really want to play in your band. For you it's just another of those evenings where all memories are left behind. You had fun, laughter, and cheer, but we thank the Lord you are here. But I still want to play in your band.
I swear to God, I only want to be with you. I promise you I'll always do my best. I second fiddle.
Do you remember when Tony Yeoman said that he was always strapped?
Oh, I just want to play in your band.
Ever masturbated listening to polka? I don't think so. I don't. If I have, it was by accident. Is this a cult? That's what I was saying. Like people who love polka, maybe not anymore. I don't know, but like it's wild, man. They're like super into it. In that Jan Levon thing, he took fucking people went with him to meet the Pope. Like he somehow conned his way into the fucking Pope's audience. The Dick Pillar of polka.
Gee, Larry, that really sounded great.
Thank you, George.
And all those innovative ideas, and I know a lot of time and hard work went into that.
That was one of the tunes that we really enjoyed doing. It's a fun song. It tells the whole story about the whole business, and you should know about that.
I certainly do. I realize you run a business and you still get out there and play. What do you do for fun in between?
Well, you know, George, with the family I have 4 lovely daughters, and of course, I
would hire, if I had like endless money, I would just hire this guy to go around Walmart and ask or not workers, but like just regular people. I'd have him ask them like really slow questions. I feel like he'd be a good slow question asker.
I don't know how to say this to say it the correct way, but I was on the road for a long time, and I didn't have a chance to quite do all the things I like to do with my kids. But now I have a chance to do the things I should have done, and I really enjoy doing with my
I feel like he can really take you around the block before he gets to the point of anything.
children and their families, because I'm a grandpapa already, and we enjoy every bit of it. And if you could see kind of our home here or something, probably with our swimming pool and all.
Look at this
We
car.
do quite a bit of entertaining at home. And we managed to get away
Chesky.
on weekends. I'll tell you a funny story.
Holy
just last
shit,
weekend.
dude. This guy's got
I said to the wife we
he's
were going to
living
get away for the
large,
weekend
man.
because I wasn't playing. And I took her all the way to Springfield to the Sheraton Terra, and we spent the weekend at the Sheraton Terra. A funny thing, she drove up and she says, I didn't realize I'd be here so fast. I think it was 4 minutes took us to get there. Well, we enjoyed dinner and dancing, had quite a weekend right in Springfield.
Now, a few years ago, you were inducted into the Polka Hall of Fame. What are your thoughts on that? What kind of an experience?
Just as a teaser, I think it's episode 3. This guy talks to Killer Kowalski.
Was that for you to go all the way to Chicago? And
I saw that in the
receive
in the
this honor.
thumbnail, I think.
I went out with kind of a little different attitude, but when I got there, I found out that
What's up, Adonjay?
it was quite an honor, and I just couldn't be humble enough, only because of the fact that
Whatever you do, Dave, don't egg the RV. Something like that could really spark a real mishap. So under no circumstances should you egg the RV.
it is an honor that's picked by your peers, and there's only 18 of us over the year, one fellow a year.
Yeah, I think they're sitting by the pool, aren't they?
It is basically given for contributing to your industry. And I really enjoyed it very, very much. Of course, when you're with names like Frankie Yankovic and some of the big boys,
Frank Yankovic, wow.
you really give it a lot of thought. There was an article in the Wall Street Journal back about 2 weeks ago. In fact, my banker sent it to me, and it was in reference to Lawrence Welk's son. Wrote a letter to Hall of Fame in Chicago, and he wanted to know why his father
I did. I had some mad balls like way back in the day.
was never
eyeball,
bronzed
I think,
there. It
the
has
football
had a
player.
plaque there. And evidently, the way the people are chosen for the Hall of Fame, it's all the promoters, the disc jockeys, and the people in the industry that vote, and they send their votes, they are handpicked to Loyola University, and I think it's something like 1,200 people that vote on this. Well, getting back to Mr. Welk's case, his son was a little put out because his dad was just never put in the Hall of Fame, according to this article that was a Wall Street Journal. But anyway, if you read the whole article, they just simply told Mr. Welk that he wasn't really a polka person. I mean, he played one polka on his Saturday night shows, and he recorded several polkas.
He was not a polka artist.
Wasn't a polka artist, and really, as good as he was, and as well as he played his polkas, he just did never really to enhance the polka industry. So I hope Mr. Welk is satisfied with that answer.
Your dad's been with the band as long as I can remember, and how has he helped you through the years in many different ways, I'm sure?
Well, George, I don't even think I'd be here today talking about music if it wasn't for Papa Joe Chesky. He certainly
no
stood
shit.
with me and helped me all the way through my musical career. He was on a road with me all these years. And up until just a short period of time, he stopped playing the bass, but he occasionally comes on jobs and sings a little bit of Głęboka Studzinka.
Well, I'm trying to think of how. Are you on Discord, Dave's channel? You can message him on Discord. They'll meet up with pretty much anybody. Although it just depends on the timing, I guess.
Or something of that nature. And but
They
he's
seem
doing
like
He's
they're
recorded with
looking
you,
for
too,
content.
He's done several albums with me. I think Papa Joe's going to be in his early 80s very shortly, and believe me, I think he's got more.
Just remember, anything that happens on Thorpe TV, like, it lives forever. Someone is clipping it. It would probably, like, offend some people that you met up with her. Or so, like, it just, you assume a little bit of a risk, but I mean, that's true when you meet up with anybody.
More pep than I have. I just hope I have the longevity and the health that he's.
I don't know, Showtime. It seems like the stuff that I've seen about it, they're all kind of mostly like conservative religious people. But if you look at actual like swinger areas, like the villages, they're predominantly conservative Christian. They just, swap around.
Else was like, but he's doing great, and I certainly enjoy having him with me
Stuffing polka in your shitbox sounds like an AI song.
all the time.
Well, he stays busy up in his record shop upstairs from your office.
Yes, in fact, when it comes to, we're in the Polish product business, of course, but when it comes to music, you can ask Papa Joe just about any question about any record or tape or video, and he always has the answers.
Well, Larry, I want to thank you for being our first guest on Primetime and having us up to your nice home here in Holyoke.
Thank you, George. We'd like to say thank you very much, and we'd also like to say to all of the viewers of Primetime out there that we'd like to thank them for having us into their home, and we hope they come out to see us sometime and do the polka with us and join
You're going to meet up with the Thorpes on March 8th. Are you going to come on cam?
themselves.
Certainly. Come back anytime. And we'll be back with more Primetime after this.
Help conserve our forests. To find out what you can do, write to Forests. National
good luck with
Wildlife
that,
Federation, Washington, D.C. 20036.
Kermit was fired from the Park Services recently.
My next guest has been a pro here at Westover Golf Course for around 3 years. Please welcome to Primetime, Mr. Jim Casagrande. Yes, Jim, welcome to Primetime.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
And you've been a pro here for 3 years. How long have you been a pro?
I've been in the PGA program for about 10 years now.
Now, over here at Westover, tell us a little bit about the facilities. What do you have to offer?
Well, Westover Golf Course is an 18-hole facility. It's a championship layout. It's 7,000 yards. We have a full fleet of golf carts here. Greens fees are very reasonable. It's a very busy course, so you do need to call in advance. But we have a fully stocked pro shop, as you can see, restaurant and dining facilities.
How do you think I feel, ATF
We
Media?
offer tournament dates for outings, for local companies, and I mean we have some tournaments as far away as Boston and Hartford.
This guy's got charisma to
play at our
burn. This
course.
guy definitely
Have you ever
take your
played in
chick.
any real big tournaments with any of the so-called names of golf?
Well, yes, I've tried to qualify for some tour events. Probably the most widely known in this area is the GHO, or Greater Hartford Open. As of yet, I haven't been lucky enough to play as well as I needed to on those days.
Wow.
In a big tournament like that, is it luck or skill?
Well, it's definitely skill, but to win a tournament like that, yes, you do have to have some luck on your side, because you're going to get some bad breaks, and hopefully they're not as bad as they could be.
Now, when someone like Paul Azinger, who hit that great chip shot on the 18th green in this year's GHO, was that luck or is that skill? Can you really plan something like that?
Well, to be honest with you, there's a lot of skill at that caliber of player. His odds of making a shot like that are much higher than your average golfer, for sure.
For sure, someone like me.
Northampton Country
I'm not
Club.
sure. I'd have to see you play. But he does have a lot of skill, and obviously to get the ball in the hole from off the green.
Laughing Cedar, sounds like you like to destroy all of your toys.
There is a little bit of luck involved, but definitely
Be careful what you say around showtime. He might read into that.
skill.
One of my pet peeves about golf is people that move along slow. They won't wave you through. They lose balls, and they still won't wave you through. They don't repair their ball marks or the divots. What can you tell us, and what should people really do about golf etiquette?
I had a bunch of them. Obviously I didn't have all of them, but I had a ton of the. I inherited because I think Jedi was the first movie I was old enough to maybe have I don't remember if I went to the theater, if we went to the theater to see it or not, but I remember Return of the Jedi, and then I inherited all of the previous figures from my older brothers. So I had a pretty big Star Wars collection. I think they're neat, but I think they look like crap. I think the new ones look better and move better, but there's just something cool about the vintage ones.
Some common golf etiquette that you should know is, for instance, on par threes, to help speed up play, once your group reaches the green, you should wave the group that's on the tee up. And while they're walking
Every time I see He-Man say Rep Richard, I keep thinking that she's talking to a member of Congress or something.
up to the green, you can putt out and move along to the next hole. That can substantially eliminate some backups that tend to occur on par threes. Repairing ball marks and replacing divots, really neglected part of the golf etiquette, and it's common everywhere. Unfortunately, that would be nice if we could start changing that, and to some extent that should be done by the people who do play golf now, and the pros, greenskeepers. All of us can educate the people that are coming into the game to help them improve on things like that.
Now, as we've discussed before, I've been playing golf for a while myself, and somehow I can't get past the point of being pretty lousy.
All right, Dave.
Now, what can you do for me? I've been told I'm consistently inconsistent.
Well, that's good.
I yield my remaining time to the Representative Ramirez
That's good.
from the great state of Lizard Squad.
I've got to change that around and help you out a little bit. You've got to have a swing flaw. It might be one thing, it might be a couple things, but what we'll do is we'll give you one or two things to work on, and then you can go out to the practice range and hit about 1,000 golf balls, and you'll be ready.
I have talked to Grace several times about merch. I think the Ben mugshot shirt would be easy to do, and it's something they could do really easy, and I think people would buy. I wanted to do the Grace in her yellow bikini in an old 70s tint, and then have it say hardwired to love pussy, but I never heard back.
Now, would one of these golf hats over here help?
Oh, definitely. That's got to cut at least 5 shots off your score.
I'm convinced. Let's work our way out to the practice range and see what we can do.
Okay, that sounds real good.
Uh-oh.
Okay, George, first thing we're going to do is change your grip a little bit and your setup, and then we're going to get you to do some leg work, and then you'll be ready to take on Paul Azinger. How's that sound?
Sounds like I'm going to fight Mike Tyson.
All right, well, let's see what we're going to do. All right.
This is what I usually do.
That's right. Okay, take this hand off for a minute. Now, I'm going to straighten this hand out. Get more in your fingertips. Okay.
You'd have to have somebody that was really dedicated laughing seater, or someone who's been like, I'm getting better about keeping track of timestamps instead of just remembering what's happening in the video when what I want to clip is in there. But like a lot of, like, if you wanted to find all of her Kamala impressions, they're like only 30 seconds at a time out of like, you know, a 3 or 4 hour stream or more. You'd have to really be dedicated. How's it going, Michael McCafferty? You know what, today's a good day. What would be a good day for today, Michael McCaffrey? It's a good day to lock up Grace Thorpe.
Okay, now bring your right hand on. Overlap those two fingers.
I've never done that before.
Okay, that's all right. It's a little different feeling, but just be confident with it. It's going to feel funny, but you'll get used to it. Okay, that's going to get your hands to work more as a unit. Okay, now when you take a swing, in your back swing, you're going to have your weight shift onto your right side, which you're doing very good. Now, on your follow through, I want you to turn towards your target and roll right up on the tip.
Yeah, the Vader case was like, it was so iconic. The only downside is there were figures that like, it would all, like the name tags were on, they're like, there were more figures than you could fit in there, and like obviously not everybody got a name tag depending on when it, you know, when the production date was. But that that Darth Vader thing was amazing. It was always so cool to open it up and like all these weird characters inside.
Tip of that right toe so that you're facing your target. Okay? That's pretty good. Just get it right up on the tip of that toe there. Okay. That was hit pretty solid.
Well, Jim, thanks for being a guest on Primetime.
Thanks, George.
Thanks for the tips. I'll let you know later how they work out.
Okay, good.
And if I get involved in any tournaments, are you going to join me as my partner?
Well, if they'll let me, yeah, we'll do that for sure.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Thanks again, Jim.
Thank you.
And we'll be back with more Primetime. I've got my hat and everything.
It's got a hat.
You know what to buy.
The library!
There's no need to shout.
The library. Know-how. No charge.
Wow.
Just an ad for going to the library, not any particular library, just like, let's go to the library.
Hi, and welcome back to
Wow.
Primetime. My next guests have been raising and breeding and training and showing Morgan horses
They've been breeding.
for about 15 years. They are Rick and Alice LaFond. Welcome to Primetime. Are you excited?
Yes, George.
We're excited.
You have a nice place. Thanks for allowing.
I saw that, He-Man. I love I think it's a really cool case. Was there another one too? Well, no, I don't know if there was a vintage one, but you remember when they came out with the, like, I don't even remember when it was, in the 90s maybe, when the special editions came out, they did a really big figure run. Did they have a C-3PO one back in the day, or was that only in the 90s run?
Allowing us to come up and do this first Primetime from Woodsong Farm. When did it start, but what generated the interest in Morgan horses?
We had 2 trail horses when we first got married, and one of the horses
Look at George, he's always finding the good angles.
got very ill and died.
These things matter. What a sad story right out of the gate.
And Rick actually started us in Morgan's, tell them how.
I happened to be driving down Route 10 one day, and I saw this truck go by, had Morgan horses written on it. I said, now that's something I've always wanted to own. So I happened to follow this gentleman, and I stopped him, asked him if he knew of any available Morgans for sale, and he told me of a fellow over in South Hadley, and we went over to see his horses, and Alice walked in the barn and said, look at this one, it looks just like Fury. And that was the one that was for sale, and that began us in Morgan horses.
And are they expensive, or does it take a lot of money to get involved in Morgans?
It takes a considerable amount, George. Most people don't realize how much is actually involved. It's not just feeding them, but you also have to...
They made that cool C-3PO too, where you could like press the button on him, I think, and like his arms and shit and his head would fall off. And then he fit inside a little mesh bag that you could have Chewbacca carry around.
Have a farrier to take care of their shoes and their feet. You have to have vet bills. Every time the horse gets sick or something, they have to come, and then we have to take care of their teeth, which a lot of people don't realize. So
you have horse dentists?
Yes.
Yes.
So there are quite a few expenses.
There is no drilling and filling, though?
No.
No.
Just
nothing.
extracting.
There are several different gaits, I believe. Are any more difficult? Do all horses do all the gaits?
Morgans do what we call natural gaits, and they are both.
This is probably what I would do after we did all the bucket list stuff for Boyd. I would settle into my life as a lottery winner by hosting a show like this.
Born knowing how to do these. They walk, they trot, and they canter.
So this isn't really a training
It's
exercise?
not something they're taught. No, they know how to do it, but you improve the form of how they do the three gaits when you're training them, so that they look more like a show horse when you're showing them.
Now there's riding and then there's driving. Now, can a single horse do both? Is either one more difficult than the other?
All the Morgans that we own both drive and ride. They're taught to drive when they're 2, and
They got
then
a
when they're 3, we
chariot?
start them under saddle.
Wow.
I wouldn't say that one is harder than the other for the horses. Sometimes you have a horse that prefers riding over driving, though. And sometimes they're perfectly happy doing both.
Oh,
And they look great doing both.
Do all yours look great doing both?
Yes, I'd say that. I do.
I think so too. I've seen them. Now I understand you attend several horse shows. You show your horses. Is there any special work, any preparation that goes into these horse shows?
You have to prepare the horses for
Wow.
the classes in the show, so it's more work.
Are horses expensive? You have to show, you know, you have to go to these shows. Is that hard? Do you have to do anything? Do you have to do anything to be in horse shows?
And you prepare the horses in a fancier manner than you would at home to work them.
So preparing the horse.
Yeah, but it's not this. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but like there's not, I mean, I'd have to at least travel a little bit to meet some people to talk to. Grace would have been a horse girl in another life. Maybe she still is a horse girl, just in a different way. Do you have to feed the horse? I've heard a lot of rumors about a horseshoe. Now, is that a literal shoe that a horse wears? I'm picturing a horse walking around on shoes.
Horses for a show, it actually takes longer than the class itself.
You could very effectively troll people doing a show like this and leave people in a position to where they still wanted to come onto the show, but they also knew you were trolling them, but they can't really point out exactly what you were doing.
Oh, yes. Yes, the class just lasts about 15 minutes, and it takes you much longer than that to get them ready.
You're preparing for hours.
It's like preparing for a photo session. Maybe you could compare it to that. You have to have all the right clothes on and the hair just so, and then the picture taking doesn't take very long. It's getting ready that does.
And it all makes a difference.
Oh, yes. Yes, they have to look right, and you have to look right.
Now, how does it feel to win a class, to get that blue ribbon?
Would Grace blow smoke in the horse's face? I don't know. She would make it smoke like she did the turtle.
Oh, it's a very exciting feeling.
I noticed the most recent of your ribbons was 1978. Not having a lot of luck since then?
You kind of have everything flash before your eyes of all the work and everything.
Do you
that you
ride
put
the
into
horse
it,
to
and
horse shows?
Makes you laugh and cry. They never have to tell you to smile.
Now, where does the breeding aspect come into the picture?
Well, George, about 9 years ago, we happened to get very fortunate and get a nice little black colt, our first foal that was born on the farm, and we raised him, and he did exceptionally well on the show circuit, and we've kept him. We decided to breed a couple of our mares to him and had some real nice foals, and therefore we decided to keep him and continue our breeding program.
Now, after it's all over, with all the work, all the investment, all the money that it takes to handle these animals, is it all worthwhile in the end?
If you're someone who really loves horses and you've always loved them, then having them is something special to you. And yes, of course.
As people who enjoy horses and spend quite a bit of time and money on horses, would you say at the end of the day that you are a fan of horses?
Of course, the answer will be yes.
And I assume you enjoy thoroughly what you're doing.
Yes, I do.
Well, I'd like to thank you for having us here for our first prime time, and it's a pleasure having you on the first show.
Thanks for coming over, George.
Dude, this guy got some pretty good guests here for the first episode. The polka guy, the golf guy, and now the horse breeders. That's pretty impressive.
George, we enjoyed it.
It was a pleasure.
I just have to talk to like I don't know, somebody wandering around in the streets.
Us too.
And we'll be back at some point.
Oh, look at
we
this.
Have a visitor.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
It's Rosie.
This is our first baby.
That was your
By
first
our
baby.
stallion. Yes, this is Lady.
It's Lady, not Rosie.
This is Woodsong, Leading Lady.
Leading Lady. Which one was Rosie? She was out here earlier.
That's her mom.
That's her mom. And I'd like to thank all of my other guests, Jim Casagrande and Larry Chesky, and thank you for choosing us as your evening's entertainment. And do join us again next time on Primetime. Good night, everybody.
It'd be like that scene in Lord of the Rings when the Uruk-hai are harvesting the other Uruk-hai. I'd be pulling all the Boit streamers out. This is great. Holy shit. He also composed and performed the theme music. I think his Facebook page had like 100 likes on it. Oh my god, the pinball shop. CSC TV. All right, so we've got Gary St. Jean, Scott Ellis, and John Lesniak. What do you think? Gary St. Jean. I think it's too early to have another animal episode, but I get a strong, like, tropical bird vibe from that name. Scott Ellis, a mechanic. John Lesniak, either a priest or a football player. All right, He-Man. Thanks for stopping by.
Hi, folks. You know, if I can collect enough bottles and cans, today's show will be broadcast without commercial interruption. Scott, how many do we have?
$3.
$3! All right!
This is amazing. If there's an afterlife, I just want to be watching new episodes of Primetime for eternity. Imagine the questions George would ask about Jerry Lawler's Coke table.
Hi, I'm George Dorunda, and welcome to Primetime. We're here at the home of the world kielbasa eating champion.
What in the world? The world kielbasa eating champion. Remember that kielbasa queen that used to come on Howard Stern?
We'll be talking with him later in...
You know what the best part is? There's like 100 episodes of this. No shit.
The program. Also on the program, we have actor, singer, dancer, musician, magician, Scott Ellis. That's like
Holy
5
shit.
people with the kielbasa eating champion. That's like 6. For most programs, that would be more than enough. Not for us here on Prime Time.
No.
We also have Golden State Warriors basketball coach Gary St. Jean. So let's head out to the St. Jean Summer Mansion on Cape Cod.
What? He's got the world kielbasa eating champion. He's got a magician, singer, dancer, whatever, and then the coach of the Golden State Warriors. What? Laughing Cedar. Come on, I can't get the coach of the Golden State Warriors.
My first guest on the program now makes his home in Alameda, California. He is originally from Chicopee. We're here at his summer home here on Cape Cod. He is Gary St. Jean. Gary, welcome to Prime Time, the big
Hey,
show.
FD.
Pleasure to be here.
It's
Lakeside.
Here you are, George, on Crystal Lake in Orleans, down on Cape Cod. We've come a long way from Chicopee, Massachusetts, haven't we?
I remember your older home.
I don't have much crossover with Radio Foreman. I think I've done 1 or 2 videos that he was in. He used to come into the, I don't know why. I don't know if it was like I'm not even going to speculate, but he would come into the chat for like no reason. Like, you know how before the stream starts, you can chat in there, and then when you come in, it'll open it up and you'll see it. It would be like him calling me an F slur like 20 times. I don't really understand it. But we haven't had a lot of interactions. I did really like the stream he did though with Provo. Remember when they went out like on the town? They had like a boys' night. That was a pretty fun stream.
Home right next door. Things certainly have changed.
And then he had like that, was it him and King TL that had like the kind of they speed dated each other, but it lasted like an hour and a half?
Many moons ago. George, you and I go way back when I used to be a teacher at Chicopee High School with Jim Caveney, and you were one of our favorite PE students, and you used to frequently visit us down in our office. We'd have many a good
That's
laugh.
Jeremy,
and
all right.
I remember when you were playing some of your gigs down here that you'd stop by and see us over here at my little place that I used to have, and it's
grown
a little bit. Yeah, we've been fortunate. We've had another place
cool.
here on the
Of
lake,
course.
and then we were fortunate to have some land, and we've recently built a new place, and we're very, very happy with our new home.
So I could actually get some pretty good guests. The problem is the people that I could get know who I am, and so they would go into the interview like prepared for the kind of things that I would say or do, so it would kind of like, it wouldn't have its full effect.
How did it all start? You're now with the Golden State Warriors, and
Wait, King is dating Imperious. What? Dan and King broke up on Lolo's stream last night over Imperious. I saw Imperious in I think in Lowe's chat, or Ruby's chat, I can't remember which one. But they had a breakup over it, and now he's dating Imperious. But Imperious is who he was irate about and had like a huge feud with, right?
you kind of made the change in a different way than most people. You went right from high school coaching into pro. I believe you were a scout for a while, and then now you're a coach.
George, it's been a dream. It's like taking a ride on the big carousel and just having it all happen. You know, as you know, going back to our Chicopee days, I was
You know who I'd like to interview is Foggy Dottie.
fortunate to coach the team there at Chicopee High for 8 years, and at that point, they were the finest years of my life. I loved going back to my alma mater, and there were so many influential people there.
He's an
and
alum
then I had the opportunity to work at a basketball camp that only took place because of our success as a team. We were taken to Boston by one of the local state representatives who gave us a tour of the State House, took us to a Celtic game, and I got to
Look at all that wasted tax dollars to take Gary St. Jean around the Capitol.
meet Don Nelson. And I worked at his camp, and he's previously said, hey, I'd like you to bring some of your players to the camp. And I said, well, you know, I don't know if they can afford to come. I said, but I'd love to come. And we established a relationship, and 10 years ago he offered me a position to come scouting. I thought about it for about 6 seconds.
Well, Laughing Cedar, Ben told me that the reason that I couldn't do proper IRL is because I dress like a black person.
And said yes. And,
didn't take you long.
Yeah, I think they were kind of a, what would have 89 have been? When did, they had I feel like they had good players though, right? They had Chris Mullen. Who was the guy that was with Mullen, the guard? There was another guy with Golden State. Tim Hardaway, maybe?
He did it.
Not long. And then I scouted for only half a year, and then he offered me a coaching position. And stayed with him in Milwaukee for 6. And then I went to the Nets in New Jersey for 2. And now I'm back out with Don Nelson, starting my 2nd year out there with him. And it's been nothing but a dream. It's just, I feel like I'm a very, very fortunate person to say to you that I'm doing something that I love. It's not a job.
It's like a dream come true.
It really is. People say, geez, don't you want to be a head coach and don't you want to do this? I said, hey, I was happy as a good old clam being the coach at Chicopee High, and here I am now sitting every night in front of 16, 17,000 people. Or,
I mean, I don't keep up with the NBA, so I'm sure there's a lot of like colorful characters now, but man, there were some wild fucking people in the 80s.
Or better yet, coming back to Boston and
Kurt Rambis, remember that guy?
Sitting on the bench and against the Boston Celtics, and I get a cold chill down my spine every time I walk in that building.
He was 49 years old here, and he's still alive today. Oh my God, wow.
So I still have very close roots to back here in
Well, there we go, Laughing Cedar. Here's my first guest. I'm going to go find Gary St. Jean.
Massachusetts, and I guess the highlights of my summer are when people from Chicopee do stop by and say hello.
What kind of a guy is Don Nelson to work for?
George, he's a unique individual. He was to use the phrase, he was a winner as a player. Played on 5 championship teams with the Celtics, and I've been with him a long time, and
Steph Curry.
The guy has all the qualities it takes to be a successful coach. Take it a step further, and he's a master preparation person. He delegates.
Remember that one guy? He changed his name to like World Peace or something I think it was like a long time ago, but I remember that guy.
Takes responsibility to his assistant coaches very, very well, and he has a tremendous love for the game. He's a master technician coaching the game. As you sit on the bench during the course of the game, it's fast and many changes take place. He makes you play the style of play that he wants to play. He'll play a small lineup and you're playing a big lineup, and he makes you play at his pace. If he continues to stay on the bench, I think he's destined for the Hall of Fame in that little town next door to our big city of Chicopee. What is that name? Springfield.
Yeah, some place called Springfield, just
there.
down the river.
Down the river.
Now, you're really dealing with the cream of the crop. And, they've been through all the best programs, high school, college.
Yeah, Ron Artest. But didn't he like punch a fan or something? That's the kind of stuff that gets me into basketball.
As you yourself have been a product of those institutions. Do you ever run into ego problems? Like, what can this guy...
Oh, on a bright note, I got no copyright claims or strikes whatsoever from any of the e-girls, which we watched a ton of e-girl videos a couple streams ago. And then I got no copyright stuff at all over the indie wrestling that we watched yesterday, I think.
Show me.
Absolutely, George. It's a big problem, and I think, George, you hit on one of my pet peeves about professional sports. And maybe that's why I love to see everybody, from my old friends from Chicopee. It's a big problem, and you've got to deal with it. And I think, having been a teacher and dealing with young people, as an assistant coach, one of my responsibilities is to talk to young players and say, hey, let's put things in perspective now. This is why the coach isn't pleased at what you're doing.
Do you think you could really, could we really recreate that era? I feel like we'd have to, I don't know. I feel like we had to have been a pretty litigious society even in the 80s. But I don't know. It just seems like, it just seems more exciting if it's like you think you might get in a fight with a player.
You've got to do this to change. Your attitude has to change. You can't play cool. You got to come out there and give 100%. If you don't do that, you're going to stay right here in the...
You're proud of me for what? Did you see, somebody told me that Jedi Rich said that I was a creative genius or something like that.
Little doghouse.
I looked it up, and it was like the video was 90% of him talking to He-Man about like religion or something. And then in the last like 10 seconds, he calls me a creative genius. But if you click on the clip, the title of it is Mark Fusion is a creative genius. But I'm only in like the last 10 seconds. So it's like a really kind of a sad... Well, Rich says it's a happy clip, but I think it's a kind of a sad clip. And then it's me at the end.
And you're not going to play. So we do see the players in that instance. And I'm sorry to say that some of my peers in the coaching profession grow to have big egos. And today is my 5th anniversary. Got married kind of late in life. I've got a beautiful wife, and as you've kidded me many times, I did overachieve. She's a great woman. I've got a daughter now, and nothing's more important to me than them. And I see some of my friends just get totally engulfed with the game of basketball on the professional level. And I think, as you noted, it's very important to keep things in perspective. It can get totally blown out of proportion very easily.
How much do you think the head coach of the Golden State Warriors made in 1989?
Find that once a player signs a lucrative contract for like $1 million a year or whatever the numbers may be,
$1 million a year.
You find after that point, he says, I've made it. I've got my contract. Maybe I don't have to work quite as hard.
It's a great...
I wonder what would happen if that was the case.
Question. I think in all walks of life, whatever you do...
Vince McMahon should start a basketball company because everybody complains that the NBA is too soft and that nobody's pushing because everybody's like so wealthy. Why don't they let Vince McMahon create like an XFL for the NBA? It can be like a real life version of, remember that old Nintendo NES game, Bill Laimbeer's Combat Basketball?
You're going to find people who get satisfied and no longer have the desire to strive for excellence. And as you noted, George, there's people making phenomenal dollars in the professional sports world. The average...
This is all 100% right. Oh, $1 million was definitely a lot back then. It's just crazy. Like, if you heard now that someone was making $1 million a year, like, it would be, you would think like they were the worst player in the league. It's just wild.
Salary in our league now has...
I do think he's right, though, about that a lot of people, once they get the money... Like, remember how badass Conor McGregor was? And then as soon as he, like, got to the top, it just all completely, just like, everything fell apart. I feel like that happens to a lot of people.
Risen to up over 5.
You just get complacent, and it's at maintaining, it's like chasing the champion is the story. So once you become the top, then you got to be like a certain kind of person to thrive at that level.
$550,000 a year for the players. And you do find players that get content, and yet the great thing is that you still find players that, even though the people are making this kind of money and are going
I don't think this has mass appeal, my God.
to be set for the rest of their life, you do find guys who keep things in perspective. And
why do people in sports make millions? I don't get that, man. I mean, look, I think it's all part of like a giant money laundering thing. Like, the amounts of money are just like so, like, I don't know. I guess you'd have to look at the books or whatever, but it seems crazy to me. Like, the numbers being thrown around, like, especially for baseball, are crazy. And then when, like, is baseball like really hot right now or something? I'm not hearing like stories about people loving baseball more than normal, but like people are making like crazy fucking money. Like almost that one guy made like, I can't even remember, but it was a ridiculous amount of money.
have the desire to produce. They have pride. There are phrases that we use, and one of them is a winner. And a winner is Larry Bird. A winner is Magic Johnson. These are
Hollywood accounting, yes, absolutely. Which, if you don't know what Hollywood accounting is, it's where they make deals with people to, like, for a cut of the profits, but then they arrange it in such a way that even if a movie makes a ton of money, none of it is technically profits. that's kind of the, I think, I don't know, it's just so much money, and it's like there's got to be like a, I just feel it, like I love art, but I truly do believe that the vast majority of the art that we see like on the news or in museums or stuff, aside from the really old shit, it's all money laundering. Even the old shit could be money laundering. Like you just buy it, it's like NFTs. You could kind of do it with that too, but you'd have to eventually dump those off on somebody. But I think a lot of art, you can like, I don't know, can you like write it off if you donate it? So you could like, you know, buy something for whatever and then get it appraised for 10 times as much and then get the write-off. I don't know how it works. I don't trust any of them.
Special people, and it's the same thing in the business world, except that, you know, we're almost, as you look at the pro sports world, it's part of an entertainment business. And these guys are making this big money because their careers, on the average, only last 3 or 4 years. The long-time career is...
I think mainstream people like normies want directed content. They want something that's like being told to them. Does that make sense? I'm not shaming. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I don't think that like normie people like want like more like open-ended or whatever content.
10-year career, but you're 100% right. It is a problem that has to be constantly dealt with because we lose sight of the fact that when a guy comes to us, he's only 23 years old. And sometimes you got to sit him down and say, hey, we got to think about what we're doing here. You know, let's get things on the right path and get our lives in order. We sit down once in a while and have a little discussion.
Now, what's your first day of practice like for you?
I mean,
do you yell a lot? Do you have problems with guys coming back?
To me, there's an ethic. I don't know if I would call it ethics, but I feel like that if you are being paid to perform and you're being taken care of, that like you should want to perform because of the people that are watching and the people in the stands. But like, I mean, like if you have $150 million in the bank, are you really going to push yourself? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I understand both sides of it, I guess.
From their hiatus?
Really, George, nowadays the players come back in shape. They used to use training camp as a tool to get in shape for the regular season.
Gun smuggling.
Nowadays they can't afford to do that. And
I mean, I love movies. I've dedicated, I don't even want to think about how much time I've dedicated to watching and reviewing movies, but a lot of those, even if they're not money laundering, they're tax shelters, all that wild shit from the 80s, a lot of that was tax shelters, but shooting movies up in Canada. Like, so a lot of the movies that we know and love are just ways for rich people to get out of paying taxes, which, you know.
And there are days we have to raise our voice and get a little stern, but by and large, they know what's expected of them, and a veteran staff doesn't have to be as vocal. If anything, we're trying to be positive and trying to build upon the teaching process, because a coach is nothing but a teacher on the basketball floor. You've got to be able to deal with the players out there, be it a time that needs some stern talking to, or whether it be a time that a guy needs a...
Yes, exactly. Then there was it Mac and Me that had the Reese's Pieces, or E.T. had the M&Ms? There's like all kinds of like stuff like that. I mean, I would have never imagined in my life that there would be a fucking advertisement in the middle of the ring on WWE, but it's just, you know, it is what it is.
A pat on the fanny. Every individual is different, and you handle each individual different, and in the same sense as a team, you know when to give them a day off, when to push them hard. Nelly refers to it as knowing when to run the horses hard.
Okay, you're married, you have a lovely wife, a daughter, and I understand another papoose on the way.
So you said this guy, somebody said he was 39, not 49. So he's still pumping out kids. That's not too bad.
How did you meet your wife? Because you were already
conceiving down by the lake
in the business.
Well, this sounds like a basketball story, but we had played the Boston Celtics, and I was on a flight on American Airlines with Wayne Embry out of Boston to Dallas on our way to the NCAA Finals in Albuquerque. we got on the plane, and we were fortunate to be flying up in first class, and there was a good-looking flight attendant who wasn't working the flight. She was just seated there. And, of course, Wayne Embry's about 6'9", about 280 pounds, so when he tells me something to do, I used to do it promptly. He pointed like this. He says, "You sit next to her." So I looked, and where are you from? And she was from Concord, Massachusetts, a graduate of University of Massachusetts, majored in PE, captain of the Concord High girls basketball team. Talk some more, and of course, we're getting off the plane, and I said, "This girl's special." I said, I need to get in contact with her again. And so I said, "When we play the Celtics again, give me a call and come to the game." Well, I forgot to call her, but she called me and wanted 2 tickets. I said, "No, you only get 1, because I don't want you bringing some other guy with you. You're going to have to come and see me later after the game for a bite to eat." Well, there started our relationship, and Mary Jane and I got married about a year after that. And
me and Mary Jane got married. Oh, I know what you mean, Laughing Cedar.
We have a daughter, Emily, who's 2.5, and we're just ecstatic about...
Sounds like he did, and then he impregnated her.
Our new addition that's going to be arriving in January, and it's fulfillment of my dreams in life. You know, the basketball's been tremendous to me, but you come home and have a great wife and a daughter, and with God's will, another healthy child. I feel like I'm a real lucky guy.
Do you keep in touch with some of the people back?
This guy is 6 years younger than me.
In town, in Chicopee,
this video
that were
crazy.
Influential in your early career?
There were a lot of influential people that had a bearing on my life as I grew up. You know, I left Chicopee, and there were a crew of people that I just felt like were very, very special friends. You know, I'm sure I'm going to forget a few, and I had a number of guys that coached on our staff that I thought were great people and had a great deal of success, one being Mike Thompson. But people like Ronnie Nazankowitz and John Badinkowitz and Ted Tremblay and Richie Janilevitz, and of course a guy that I taught with at Chicopee for 7 years, Jimmy Caveney, who's one of my special friends.
I do actually have... Oh, hang on a second. What's going on here? I actually do have, it's pretty short. I think it's under 10 minutes, but I do actually have some, I think it's from 1994, 1995, some IRL content that I did.
Those are the guys that I really stay in close touch with, of course, also with my...
Half of it was real, and half of it was scripted.
Family, and it's, I think that... I might have more friends than I realize when we play Boston, George, because all of a sudden I get about 50 calls for tickets. But those guys love to come down to the games, and we get together down here, down the Cape, and I'll call them, and they keep me abreast of what's going on back home. And, you know, you can be in the NBA for a lot of years.
I'm like a kid, though, so I'm like, "Hi, my name is Mark. I have a question."
And I've had 10 great years, but I know if I ever have a problem in life and I need a hand, I know I can call those guys, and they know they're only a phone call away from me. And
what's up, Dancing on the Bus? What the fuck are you guys watching? This is Prime Time with George Dorunda. This is the coach of the Golden State Warriors, who, by the way, I'm not complaining, but this guy's gotten over half the episode.
Those are some of the closest people in my life, and I still cherish their friendship.
Well, for a guy who's done it all, where do you see yourself 5, 10 years from now? Do you think you'll be doing the same thing?
George, I've achieved the goals that I really wanted to in my life in terms of career. And again,
sorry.
If I have an opportunity to become a head coach in this league, so be it. But I think I'm just trying to put one foot in front of the other. I also have some thoughts about going into the front office, be it player personnel or general manager. If those take place, terrific. But as I said before, I'm taking them nice and slow, one step at a time.
Well, Gary, it certainly has been a pleasure to have...
It is very weird to go from, like, talking about how many people have watched this, like... When I was on Twitch, which they unbanned me out of nowhere, so it's not like people had no idea I was coming back or anything. So when I started on Twitch, I started doing the like kind of similar stuff to this, but we watched more serious stuff, like documentaries and more conspiracy theory stuff, and there was a lot of grace, and like literally nobody was watching it. So going from like almost no watch hours to like thousands of watch hours a month is pretty crazy. Like just to process is pretty weird.
Have you on prime time and to have us down here at your fantastic home. I have never.
No, I don't want to be world legendary. I don't want to be legendary.
Seen a home that looks like this in my life.
Well, it's been a lot of fun, and this has got to be one of the highlights of my summer, to get together with you again and talk a little bit about my past and present and future. And you're looking slim and trim, and I bet you're still playing a mean tune.
He is a nice guy. He's a nice guy. He's complimenting. I mean, I'm assuming, unless he's fucking with him, telling him he looks slim and trim. He seems like he's genuinely nice.
I certainly am. That keeps me busy. Well, thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure.
And we'll see you again.
Well, I would say I could, if I didn't care what the world said, I could solve that, but I can't talk about it on stream. Too late, but I understand the sentiment. Yeah. What's up, Shay Ambrose?
Next summer, maybe another update interview.
That's good. We'll have the family on then.
So stay.
This is the only 480p stream you'll watch. Yeah.
With us, we'll be back with more prime time after this.
Are we at 480 or are we down to 3? Yeah. We at 360p today.
And the drive shaft connected to the axle and the wheels go round and round. Boom!
The library. Know-how. No charge.
My next guest is an actor, singer, dancer, musician, magician, and he's also a songwriter. And his latest release, called A Perfect Song, here to perform In Your Heart, is Scott Ellis.
Down from above, feel his love. He will always love you, no matter what you do. Just turn and come back to him again. He will never feel alone.
I would, just to be honest, I would have to be confrontational with my guests at times. I would be like, cut the music. What's going on here? Like, this is the name of this album is A Perfect Song. So why did you play this one?
God has found a home in your
Public access TV broadcast from LA in the mid 80s. Man, that's us. That's great. That is gold. Having a stroke.
He will always love you.
Oh yeah, I looked up George Dorunda. He's got that like megastar parenthesis retired on everything.
No matter what you do.
I did not go to the website because Firefox told me that they couldn't guarantee my safety on it, so I noped out of George Dorunda.
Turn and come back to him again. He will never feel alone. He has found a home. God has found a home in your heart.
Oh, that'll happen, Laughing Cedar. 100%. 100% that'll happen. Joe Shabatoni's already said that once AI gets to that point, he's going to do nothing but watch movies where Ben is the star of all of them. And Jacinda is always the villain.
Scott, welcome to Primetime.
Thank you.
Sounded great.
Thank you. Welcome to my living room.
This is your living
Pre-Thorpe radio foreman.
and the songs. You wrote every song on that album.
How you doing,
yes, I did. It took me about 3 years to write them all, so it'll be a while before we come out with another one.
And how did you get interested in writing
Do you think the balloon behind them is filled up with nitrous?
songs? And are they all Christian songs?
Yes, I did write all the songs. All the songs are based on Christian ideas or things that the world is going through, like peace in the world. And then a lot of them have just a lot to do with having a relationship with God. And so, therefore, they all are Christian, but they're not heavy Christian. Sometimes people will listen to my music, and I'll have to tell them that it's Christian. And then once I do that, they can find where it was based on a Christian
Grace will be the villain in your horror movie. I have a role in mind for her, but it's top secret.
idea.
Now,
No, I'm actually just going to have her... I'm going to make her into the new... what's her name? I can't remember. I'll think of it.
A little bit like Willie Nelson. Maybe you'll be writing some country music soon. Who knows?
There was a girl with real manic energy. I can't remember her name, but she was in a bunch of like indie movies, and then she was in all the she was in that X series.
Willie Nelson. Well, when I set out to write it, I didn't aim to sound like him or have a sound like that.
Well, you certainly don't sound like Willie Nelson.
Thank you. That is a compliment. I will take it that way.
She had whole conversations with an AI boyfriend on stream. I saw somebody, it came up in a random community post on my feed, and whoever's channel it was said that they were using Chat GPT as their therapist. That's an idea.
Was the Willie Nelson style, kind of?
Really, I don't go after one certain style. Basically, I don't even go over if I want a fast song or a slow song. It's just however the song comes out, whatever the idea progresses to be.
No, not Fairuza Balk. It was pretty. She was in X and Maxine and Pearl. I can't remember what her name is, though. She was also in, I think she was in that movie Feral. And then I think she was, well, maybe. Was she the sister? Or that might be a different person. I might be thinking of two feral individuals.
That's how the song comes out.
I'll tell you, hang on.
That's what it would sound like. So my next one may sound like John Bon Jovi.
Now, you also do magic. What can you show me? Do you have a little trick? And we even have this balloon here. What's this all about?
Well, I'll tell you what. You put the balloon down. You want to see a magic trick?
I want to see a magic trick.
You got $100?
Wait a minute. What, this is going to cost me?
Magicians don't run cheap. Do you have $100? If you want to see a trick, give me $100 and we'll see what we can come up with.
This guy certainly isn't cheap.
You have $100. I like.
Okay, so I was thinking of two completely different people. There's Mia Goth, who was in Maxine and all that stuff. And then there was Belle Powley, who was in Feral and White Boy Rick. So it's two feral individuals, but they're separate actresses.
Like this.
This is costing me here.
Okay.
A brand new crisp $100 bill.
$100 bill.
Now, wait a minute. What's going to happen with this $100 bill?
Well, we're going to talk about that right now. First thing I'm going to do is, you know that no two $1 bills, $20 bills, $100 bills, no two bills in the world have the same serial number. So what we're going to do is to make this different from any other $100 bill. We're going to read the serial number off it. We're going to give people at home just a second to get all their pencils and papers. Good. And now we're going to read the serial number off of it. Here we go. It is E435223115A.
Well, that's the $100 bill I'm holding right now.
We're going to fold this $100 bill up.
Mia Goth, that is a cool name.
He's folding the the 100.
Have you ever seen the other person I'm talking about, Belle Powley? She's another like really wild on-screen talent.
$1 bill up. I wish it were.
She played the sister in White Boy Rick.
I wish it were a $1 bill.
You can even see that it has 100. Now, I have an envelope, and we're going to put the $100 bill inside the envelope. Now, do you happen to have a lighter for me?
A lighter?
Yeah, I need a lot of things to do this trick.
Why do we need a lighter? What's going to happen here?
Do you have a lighter?
Uh-oh, Jerry Lawler.
He can give me a $100 bill, but he can't give me a lighter. Now, do you have any training in the martial arts?
Of course.
You do?
Yeah.
Oops.
Of course.
Oh, wait, I don't think I like this part. He's burning my money.
It's okay. I've done this before. It didn't work, but I've done this before.
Have you escaped alive?
This isn't burning very well. You have like non-flammable money.
I've planned it that way.
I'll bet. Okay. Let's try and torch this up a little bit.
Getting some interesting energy here.
Well, what did you think of that? Good? Okay, do you have any more questions about
so far?
Any questions more about the album you want to talk?
White Boy Rick is a fantastic story. Like 90s, 80s or 90s Miami is like my ultimate vibe, but like 80s dystopian Detroit is amazing too.
Talk about that for a while.
Wait a minute. Well, let's look. Where's the $100 bill? You burned it.
It's right here. You wanted it back?
I don't care about the album. I want my money back. What kind of a trick is that? I can do that, folks. I'm a magician. I can do that much.
You wanted this back?
I wanted that back.
Why didn't you tell me before I burnt it? That's impossible now. All right, I have an idea.
This is a costly program.
Now, this balloon that I brought with me has something in it. Listen. And I will bet you, you hope, that this, inside this balloon, is your $100 bill. Could you please pop the balloon?
In here is my $100 bill.
Pop the balloon.
But you just burned my $100 bill.
Pop the balloon, please. Now, there should be around, if it fell around. Okay,
I
you
have
got
it. I
now,
have it.
look
Yes.
at, just show it folded up right now and see that it is money. And if you could just open it up and read the serial number so that everybody can see that it is your $100 bill.
Hold it. When I said I wish it were a $1 bill, I wish you started with a 1, but this is not a $100 bill. Sorry.
Wow, this is a long, drawn-out trick.
Sorry.
You just burned my $100 bill!
Wait a minute. This is one of those tricks that works 1 out of 10 times. I guess you can call yourself lucky. All right. How about if we try...
You're not too lucky right now.
Oh, boy. How about if we try just... we'll try a little better. Okay? We're going to go for just a little better here, and we're going to fold up the $1 bill, and we'll hope that we do a little better. Okay, here we go. There's
We're
your
not going to get much
bill,
time with the
folding it
kielbasa
up here.
person.
And now, if we could just unfold it again, you can see that it had, well, it is a little better.
I don't like this.
We have now a $10 bill. That's a little better. Sorry, that's the best I can do.
This better not be the best you can do. We start out with I know you just burned the 100. Now you give me a 10. What good is this? What kind of a trick is that?
It's one that's not going too well on your part. You want to try a little better?
To work out the tension.
I hope so.
We're going to try
This is a 90. We're down to a $90 show.
Hey, we're getting better, aren't we? Leave me alone. I'm going to fold up the $10 bill, and now you can see that if we vanish the $10 bill...
Oh, wait a minute. Open the hand.
The $10 bill is gone. The $10 bill is gone. Now, George...
Now I have nothing.
Now, wait a minute. Where did you give me the $100 bill from?
From my wallet.
Kowalski
Go back to the
kielbasa.
source.
He's in the next episode.
Let me go back to the source.
Go back to your wallet right now. Go back to your wallet.
This guy doesn't...
Have I touched your wallet at all through this trick?
No, he hasn't. I've had my wallet in my pocket. This guy doesn't know what he's doing.
Could you take out a $100 bill? Do you have a $100 bill?
I'll never forget being a teenager and seeing that shit. The kielbasa queen.
I have a $100 bill.
You do have a $100 bill. Could you read the serial number to everybody at home so that they can check their number? Go ahead.
All right.
E435222315A.
That's your money. Thank you very much. You can return to your seat now.
Return to my seat now. Yes,
That's what I do on stage.
the amazing Scott Ellis.
Thank you.
Well, Scott, it's been a pleasure having you here on Primetime.
Thank you.
And best of luck with the album, and do come back and see us once in a while.
Best of luck with the album.
Okay, thank you very much.
And we'll be back with more Primetime after this.
Oh, yeah.
Help conserve our forests. To find out what you can do, write to Forests, National Wildlife Federation, Washington, D.C. 20036.
My next guest is the world's kielbasa eating champion. He's been champion for 4 years. He is John Lesniak.
John.
Yes, John.
Oh,
Welcome
my
to
God.
Prime Time. Pleasure to.
I mean, I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't this guy. Does he have a hat that just has his first name on it?
Have a champion. Are you an Olympic champion?
Not that I know of.
Do you think this will ever become an Olympic event? Kielbasa eating.
Well, that's a good question. Most of the fellas, I believe, I would hurt if I keep on eating.
Well, what do you do to train to eat this amount of kielbasa?
Well, I have a very good appetite.
There's no training. You're just like a natural.
Why is this guy leaning as far away from George as possible?
Natural, yes, sir.
Now, what's the most kielbasa that you've ever eaten in one sitting?
48
This year, I ate 5 pounds, 0.7 ounces.
5 pounds and 7 ounces.
5 pounds of kielbasa.
That's 45 minutes, though.
And only 45 minutes. Well,
if we had more time, I would have been able to eat more, yes.
Now, you're not a very big guy.
Well, I do a lot of walking, that's why.
You kind of burn it up.
Yes. I ate my sister out of my own house because she couldn't afford to feed me anymore.
Now, what do you like on your kielbasa? Do you like mustard, horseradish?
No, I'll eat just plain.
Plain?
Like, to me, George is just, this is like YouTube before YouTube. Like, it's just introducing us to all these real life, Boit characters.
Kielbasa.
Plain kielbasa, yes, sir.
And to eat these amounts of kielbasa, you certainly must enjoy it.
I do. I might give up 1 year because I don't want to hurt nobody. I want somebody else to win.
He's worried. He's worried that he's so good at eating kielbasa that someone could get hurt if he continues to compete.
So they won't feel hurted. So, like, if I don't go next year, I'll go the following.
Because if you entered every year, you could clearly win this contest every year.
And yes, and then nobody would want to go into the contest anymore. The contest would be over.
Well, John, it's been a pleasure having you here on Prime Time. And I'd like to...
It really is. Like, this is like how I imagine, like, Boit Watch, introducing, an audience to these, interesting people.
Wish you the best of luck in all of your...
I mean, this guy was absolutely wild. I doubted giving him such little time, but I feel like there's so much mystery here with John. I'm so confused by everything happening with his segment. Maybe he'll come back.
Future kielbasa eating contest endeavors.
Thank you.
He seems like he's being held hostage or something.
And I'd like to thank all of my other guests, Gary St. Jean and Scott Ellis. And I want to remind you to join us next time on Primetime when we'll have professional wrestling legend Killer Kowalski along with Chet and Mary Lou Dragon. Thanks for watching.
Wow.
Good night, everybody.
Chet and Mary Lou Dragon. Yeah, isn't that weird that the whole thing was about eating kielbasa, but it didn't happen? He should have asked him, and the guy been like, no, I'm not really hungry right now. Oh, that could be why he only got 5 minutes at the end and they stretched that awful magic trick out. He may not have been like a very, he might not have been as good of an interview as it seemed. Opening sequence created by George Dorunda. Closing music composed and performed by George Dorunda. Okay, so for more information, you could just call Scott Ellis. Like, if you watch the show, you could be like, oh, hey, that's Scott Ellis. All right, hey, Scott, you could just fucking call the guy. That's crazy. But I guess back then that's how you had to do business, right? I did watch part of this to verify the Killer Kowalski. Oh boy. Okay, so we've got Killer Kowalski, Chet and Mary Lou Dragon. Right? Chet and Mary Lou, or is Dragons a third person?
Hi, I'm George Dorunda here with my associate producer, Mark, and I'm so proud of this primetime program. It has 3 great guests, wonderful music, and plenty of action.
Action? That doesn't sound like the show I remember taping, George.
All quiet, Mark. Just roll the regular opening.
This is me before I had all the plastic surgery. I was actually going to do a stream on Twitch where I I found a weird, we might still do this actually. I found a weird DVD about doing magic at home, and I was like, this is really corny, so I was going to enact it in the stream and actually do all the magic tricks as instructed. But then I looked into the people who made it, and they made one magic trick video, but they made thousands of gun videos, which I thought was really weird. And then I was going to do an episode diving into the guy who made them, and then I got high and forgot about it. Hey, Bob Brown. Yeah, I used to be the producer on Primetime with George Dorunda. That was Asian.
Welcome to Primetime, and what a power-packed show we have for you today. Coming up on the program, we have radio personalities Chet and Mary Lou Dragon. But let's get the power-packed show underway. I'm so excited. It's time for professional.
See, like this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is what, in my opinion, makes the difference between like interesting content and not interesting content sometimes, is that he could have said this same thing while standing in front of like a blank wall, and who gives a shit? But when he's standing in front of a fucking pen, what are these, turkeys, chickens? There's some kind, just dozens of wild birds. That's interesting. Well, not wild, but you know what I mean.
Wrestling at the 3 County Fair in Northampton.
Hey, story we
My first guest is one of the true wrestling legends. He wrestled professionally.
No, but I really do look so much different than I did in those old wrestling videos. I can't believe that's been, well, the ones that we watched, the Necro Butcher versus Low Key and the other one, those turned 20 years old this year, so that's pretty wild.
For over 30 years, he now runs a wrestling school and promotes wrestling. He is Walter Killer Kowalski. Yes.
I'd ask him about that fucking hairpiece.
Walter, welcome to
George,
Primetime.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Well,
just to mention, with that introduction, over 30 years, baloney. I'm not that old. You know, I still like middle school. My profession, my whole career, from the time I first started, went to wrestling school, the whole schmear, was only 27 years.
27 years?
I started when I was 6.
Started when you were 6.
Yeah,
you were big for your age. You started professionally at 6?
Yes, I was tall for my age. In fact, my folks said, gee, why don't you do something? Because you're a big, young, sloppy kid. So they took me to wrestling school. And by that time I was 8 years old. I was a pretty big guy. And I was kind of skinny, though. I didn't put on weight.
I think we've watched a few different matches that I was at. But yesterday we watched, I think, at least 2.
I was 205 when I was born. Very difficult for my mother.
Oh, I can imagine.
All right, it's me. Take it easy.
I put on weight. By the time I was 20 years old, I was weighing 245, 250. And I slowly put on weight, more weight. I got up to 275. That was my regular.
Like, he really does take a minute to at least, like, his framing. This isn't artistic like Grace, but at least he's getting it somewhere. Like, the backdrops are normally interesting, which I appreciate a lot.
Wrestling weight. Like today, 275 is really not that much weight, because you see all these guys are still.
Looks like they're chatting on like a movie set. Yeah, he trained Triple H, Joni Laurer. Who else did he train? I can't remember. There was somebody else, I think, high profile that he trained. It wasn't Mick Foley, was it? I don't think wasn't Mick Foley. He was Dominic DeNucci. I can't remember. There's somebody else with Killer Kowalski, I feel like.
Freaks, you know.
Did you know they had to put him under a mask because his hair kept falling off in the ring?
400 pounds.
I was in pretty good shape.
Of course, you were always in good shape.
I did all the else too. I did drink. At first, I started drinking milk. And later on, I made a total commitment to professional wrestling. I studied, I read, and one of the things that really impressed me in 1954, British Empire Games in British Columbia, in Canada, like Vancouver. There are two runners in there. One was Roger Bannister.
What did we? I think it was a Thorpe stream, right? Where they just were sitting outside, and then whoever happened to come up, if they wanted to talk, they could just talk for however long they wanted to, and then move on. Did we watch that in something else too, or no? That would be kind of interesting, just to set up somewhere and just have an extra chair.
Bannister, the other one, John Landy. The first two men
just talk to people about whatever they wanted to talk about.
In history to break the 4-minute mile
in person, not on a panel.
Area. Before it was untouchable, it was unbreakable, they thought. And interviewing they both went under 4 minutes. Interviewing these gentlemen after and asked them, what do you attribute your tremendous endurance, great power, to go a mile under 4 minutes? Roger Bannister, who won, said, I'm a vegetarian. But I become a vegetarian overnight. That moment, then I said, I'm going to become a vegetarian. If their endurance can increase to such an extent, I'll see if I can do it without running. But I had to lie. I did run every day. I ran every day for years and years, 10 feet to the bathroom. That's my extent of my running. But I worked out and I trained. I worked out very religiously. I made a total commitment to become a great professional wrestler. I never smoked in my life. I became a vegetarian. No alcoholic beverages whatsoever. No pills like that today. Boom, boom, boom. Not even an aspirin. If you want to die, take aspirin. Well,
I don't think they allow filming at the. Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess they could technically tell you not to stream outside of it, but I don't know. I'm trying to think of the kind of people that go into the dispensary. A lot of times when I go, there's not anybody else in there. But I'm trying to remember, like, if I remember any people. That some of the employees are kind of interesting.
Get off that. We'll talk about wrestling for a while.
Of course. Now, how does a nice guy like you get the nickname Killer?
Killer Kowalski. You want to know the whole story about how I got the name
I would
Killer,
like to know the whole story
Kowalski?
on Killer Kowalski.
Now, about 1955, I'm a vegetarian already.
You were about 7 at the time.
No, I was getting to be about 13 by then.
Oh, okay.
I had a match in Montreal, Canada. You know what a cauliflower ear is?
Yeah.
It's what it is, that's why ears freeze in the wintertime, very poor circulation. So when you get hit in the ear, it swells up and it hardens. Circulation is so poor that blood actually has a chance to flow out of it. That's why boxers, wrestlers, and funny kind of people that fall, hit your head against the wall, you have cauliflower ears. Like gnarled and Yukon Eric had a very bad cauliflower ear. Like the cartilage was broken. I have a slight cauliflower. Feel that ear, just feel it.
Yeah.
Feel how hard it is?
Yeah.
Well, his was worse than that. He was just big, thick cauliflower ear. I jumped off the top rope. He moved. He saw me coming, tried to get away. Well, I almost missed him. My shin bone caught his cheek.
You just grazed him?
Just grazed the cheek, but when it caught the ear, like you knock a fly off the table, boom, his ear just rolled across the ring. The whole entire ear, the only thing I left was the lobe. So he starts screaming, my ear, so I touch the face, what's he hollering about? He says, I don't know. He looks down the floor and says, holy mackerel, what is that? He picks it up, it's still throbbing, it's still life there. I said, that's an ear. Holy mackerel, look out, blood is gushing. Very gory program you have here.
Oh.
Blood is gushing, spurting out there. Somebody threw a towel.
This is R-rated already.
Oh. Somebody threw a towel into the ring. He put over his head. It was soaked within a matter of seconds. He walked to left the ring, went to the back dressing room. So referee says, what am I going to do now? Look, stupid, raise my arm. I'm the only one left. Said, okay. So raise my arm as the winner. Well, a couple of days went by. I went back to the wrestling office to get paid. I get paid for wrestling, believe it or not. At that time,
you do. You have all this fun, you get paid too.
Yeah, I got paid too. So I went back to the wrestling office and he said to me, have you been to the hospital? I said, for what? The hospital's only 2 blocks away. well, go visit your contractor hospital and then tell me you're sorry. I said, you gotta be kidding. For what? His ear's gone? What's the... So they took me by the hand, two guys, took me to the hospital, 2 blocks. Well, I thought, what the heck. Sometimes, one of the office personnel walked into the room. I hear a bunch of voices in there. So
I want to interview somebody from like a library, but really get down to like, as Jeff Jarrett likes to say, get granule. Just like start off the interview by being like, what is a book?
Like the sun, I see some people standing there. But it was newspaper reporter and TV people. All in the room, you come out to get an interview from them. And so he said, come on in, Kowalski's out here, the guy from the office. Come on in. And I was getting embarrassed. So I walked in, just stood in the doorway, looked across the room.
You ripped your sister's ear half off? Oh my God.
Big guy. What about 290? All upper body head.
Oh, Yukon Eric.
Huge barrel chest, big head. No ear.
No ear.
And he's all bandaged up, and he's sitting up in bed in this little tiny cot, it looked like, and he's all bandaged up, and looked across the room. Looked like an elephant boy. So I started smiling. He looked over at me and he smiled back. So I started laughing. He laughed, and I goes, and he started laughing. So I goes, and I went like that and walked out. Next day, newspapers came out, a headline on the sport page. Killer Kowalski visits Yukon Eric in a hospital and laughs at him, which is true. Then, when he got out of the hospital, he had a big match, big return match.
I did ask a librarian one time what percentage of books in the library she thought had been read while people were taking a shit, and she said absolutely it's 100%.
Yukon Eric and I, Montreal Forum is sold out. I walk in the ring first. People start jeering me, screaming at me, "You're a monster, you're an animal, you're nothing but a..."
Maybe. Probably not, though. It's a different time in society. Like, people are much more unlikely to talk to you about their job or what they do out of fear of, like, saying something and getting canceled, or, like, their boss getting mad if they feel like they're speaking for the library. You know what I mean? There's just a lot of bullshit.
Killer! That was it. So from that time on, I became Killer Kowalski. And everywhere, all over the newspaper articles, magazine articles, Killer Kowalski. That's what it is. That's how I got my name.
And the legend continues.
Still here. That's Killer Kowalski.
And how has wrestling changed from your early days to what we see on television today?
What has changed today now that people want to see more of the hype, less of the wrestling. Do not want.
So, like, I totally believe there are people who would love, I mean, I'm being serious too. I think there are a lot of people in a lot of fields who would love to talk about what they do and stuff, but they just don't do it because they're worried about getting fired, or worried about someone that disagrees with something they say calling their work and trying to get them fired.
Want to see guys going.
Just talk to a bunch of old people. That could honestly probably work. There are probably people that like, but then you'd run the issue of, and I understand I'm like overthinking it, but I think this is just the world we live in. There would be people who would think that like, oh, these is a YouTuber that's exploiting these old people for views. You know what I mean? Like, they wouldn't know the context of, and nobody's going to take the time to learn the context.
Out there and showing their skill, their talent as professional wrestlers. I see guys jumping around, picking their noses, scratching their butts, and just making fools of themselves. That's what the people want. That's what draws the people to pack the arenas and give it to them. The bottom line is money, right?
That's right.
That's the bottom line. If that's what people are screaming and wanting, give exactly to them.
I think also if you called up and you were like, hey, I want to interview somebody, they would automatically think you were going to ask about like drag queen story hours or inclusion of trans books or whatever. Like, it would be, I don't think there are a lot of people who would be like, oh, somebody's calling me for an interview. Clearly they have no agenda and they just want to genuinely hear about what I do and share that information with others. You know what I mean? I think people would maybe in a, maybe, I don't know, maybe you could get somebody who didn't, but I think most people would just assume you were trying to like muckrake or stir up drama or whatever. They don't realize that I don't care how many views it would get. Like, I just think it would be neat to do it.
Turner, all his men there do wrestle, and they're trying to re-educate the people.
Or like go to like go to an old folks home and like show an old like movie in like their common area?
The style what wrestling is really like. I don't know how much success they're having, but WWF, no way. They want to see the jumping around, the screaming,
More
hollering.
choreography than wrestling.
More whatever it is, but less wrestling. And actually, WWF is outdrawing NWA. So that's what the people want. You got to give it them because that pays the salaries to the wrestlers. That puts money in Mr. Vince McMahon's bank or his offshore savings, whatever he's doing, whatever he put the money away into, whatever it is. But that's what is the bottom line now. And you know, I was one of the first people to increase the speed of wrestling because I have such tremendous endurance. I used to actually have wrestlers throw up in a ring on me. Throw up in a ring.
Really?
I'd rub their face and stomp them. And guys would jump out of the ring and walk around, catch their breath again.
Now, how would you do, because you were a professional wrestler, how would you do against someone like today's Hulk Hogan?
If I were in the ring with Hulk Hogan today, this is the truth. You know how long the match would last? About 3 or 4 minutes. I get
Which books are flagged by the FBI? Yeah.
killed. Hulk Hogan, he's got 22-inch arms. The guy's huge, weighs 290 or 300 pounds. The man is a powerhouse.
I mean, I think he, yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe that's just part of the circle of existence. By the time he would have really been pissed off about what happened to wrestling, he was already gone.
Strong. Let me tell you a little story.
But how about his wrestling skills?
He doesn't need it. The guy is so powerful and so strong, he doesn't have to waste his time learning wrestling skills. He has a few. His talent his timing is good. His reflexes are great, and he can kill a person before he even starts to breathe. So Hulk Hogan is worthy of being called world champion in my book. The guy is great.
Now, when they run one of these WrestleMania deals where they bring in $50 million in one day, do the wrestlers really benefit from that, or does most of this money go to the promoter?
Most of the money goes to the promoter. All the stuff they see on TV and everything like that, the wrestlers, they get pennies. That's why they keep them hungry, so they can't go anywhere. That's the whole secret in wrestling.
You know what they get? They get shiny pennies for the scat goblin.
Wrestling. Keep the wrestler hungry, and you'll keep them around. That's the whole thing. You think the wrestlers are living in million-dollar mansions? No, the promoters are. The wrestlers are living in rental homes and things like that. Hey, don't let anybody kid you. Promoters make the big money, and they're putting it in their pocket and they're keeping it.
So the wrestlers don't really benefit whether it's a WrestleMania or if they're wrestling here at the Three County Fair.
If they're wrestling Three County Fair, well, they might get a little bit paid more.
I think this was maybe an era where there was still a little bit of kayfabe left, and he didn't want to, like, as much as he didn't like the direction, he still wanted to kind of look out for the business.
I see you treat your guys good.
Oh, yeah. See, they might only get 30.
And I mean, it was look at this guy in the background. What a treasure with his tiny ice cream cone. He did kind of, it was a backhanded compliment, I think. He was basically saying, like, yeah, this guy doesn't know anything. He doesn't know how to wrestle. He doesn't know when he holds, but he doesn't need to because he can just brute force his way through the matches. So, I mean, he put him over, but he kind of also, like, shit on him a little bit.
$4. I give my guy $35 for wrestling. No more than that.
Just a bit more. Now you have your wrestling school. What kinds of things do you teach your students?
All the holes there are, I can teach them to in about 7 months. It doesn't take you 5 years to learn what to do with them. You go to college to learn it, you get a degree. It's going to take you 4 years. And
I have those same pants.
After that, it's going to take you another couple of years so you can get the hang of it, of what you've learned to put it to use.
Oh.
Same thing at school. I can teach them.
Never mind. I thought those were snakeskin. I didn't know they were like weird stonewash.
Show them, then it's going to take you 4 or 5 years to put them to use properly and know what to do with them and how to do them. Now, you people can go look and see some of the guys wrestling for WWF. They're wrestling 3 or 4 years. They know nothing. They fumble around that ring, they nothing. That's why the matches are so short, because it's one of the things to do. They want to get back to the basics. Real professional wrestling, tough for the guys. When they hit a guy, the sweat splatters, and you can hear the splat. Today, you hit a guy that hard, ooh, he starts crying.
I think when people talk about can an old school way of wrestling work, they put unrealistic bullshit around it. Like, can you compete with the WWF out of the gate? No. You couldn't even compete with TNA or AEW. but could you build a following, and could it be profitable or at least break even to the point that you could run it? I mean, I think it's possible. It would be extremely difficult, but I think you could do it if you could find the right fan base and you could find the right online community to stream your matches to. And like, I think you could do like a go back to basics.
Crying and it hurt. Oh,
now, do you think this bubble is going to burst?
We'll find out when I get my lottery winnings and we bring in Savvy Guy to build the promotion around.
Eventually, that this whole showmanship thing and things will come back around.
That's how we used to do it.
You
By
always
working in that ring, going in there and giving 120% every time. I didn't care if I'm wrestling in Madison Square Garden, New York, I'm wrestling in Timbuktu, or Kokomo, Indiana. Because to me, when I'm in that ring, I give them a full blast, 120%.
Man, that was a sit-down drop
kick. To me,
kick.
every match was Madison Square Garden. Brutal. And that's what they got out of me. I was one of the pioneers, I'm glad to say to this day. I was there. If I was booked, I made the match. You know all those mosquitoes out here? We got some on YouTube.
Do you have any students that we would recognize? Any students of yours who have really made it big time?
Do you watch professional wrestling?
Of course.
Have you seen Big John Studd wrestle?
There you go.
He's one of my students. Now, NWA, Norman the Lunatic.
Mm-hmm.
I trained him, got him.
Norman the Lunatic.
When Norman the Lunatic came to me, he was 4 years amateur wrestling coach from Michigan. Came to my schools. I'm going to teach you what is wrestling.
Are you asking if Killer Kowalski could? What do you think?
It's all about. He learned. He was good.
Look at this guy. He's with his groceries.
It's good today. You know my student. I have a few others scattered around there. I'm training my nephew now. Mitch Kowalski. He's come out of Detroit. He's a young kid. Yeah. Of course, he's learning the hard way. I'm beating the hell out of him a little bit.
Well, you're keeping it in the family.
If you're going to follow my footsteps, you're going to follow it correctly and properly. So I boot him every once in a while.
Wow.
Now, in your personal life, you're also a photographer.
Do you think he physically corrects his nephew if he doesn't wrestle properly?
I understand.
Look at this vibe, too. This is so cool. We went from, like, complete daytime to within the span of 15 minutes. Now we're getting nighttime.
A hobby. I used to fool around a little bit. You know, anything I undertake, I think I try to do real well. So as a photographer, it's pretty good. A lot of my prints were on exhibition in New York, on an exhibition, mosquitoes.
Wow, he's really
prints were on exhibition around the country too, Los Angeles and Vegas. But that was just a hobby. So, you know, hobbies come and go. I'm not doing. If you think I'm going punching, no, we're outside with mosquitoes here.
There are many mosquitoes here outside at the Three County Fair in Northampton. Well, Walter, it certainly has been interesting, and it's a pleasure having you here on Prime Time.
Prime Time!
Prime Time!
Gathering a crowd. Did any of you watch the stream I did a long time ago where I watched some videos of a guy that went to Afghanistan? This is what everywhere he went was like this. Wherever he went, a huge crowd would suddenly like gather around him.
No, not the same. I wish it were.
Oh, okay. Well,
I wish I had the money they had.
I might continue that series. Was actually a really fun stream.
Prime Time. This is Prime Time.
Oh, the melon. They sat down and the guy cut the melon for him, and like, you could just hang out with your friends eating melons.
With George Dorunda, a little local nickel and dime cable show.
Okay, George, pleasure. Thank you very much.
It has been a pleasure, and do come back again and see us sometime.
Here? With the mosquitoes?
Not here. Maybe we'll set it up somewhere else.
Come to Boston.
We'll come to Boston.
It's fun.
Okay, and we'll be back with more Prime Time after this.
So he got pretty much right at half, a little bit over.
Every drunk driver who killed somebody thought he could handle his liquor.
Matthew
The
Broderick.
liquor affects coordination, reflexes, and judgment, and you're no exception. I know you heard all the arguments before about risking arrest, imprisonment, loss of your license. But there's just one thing I want to get across to you. Everyone who drinks and drives risks taking a life. For more about drinking and driving, write the Will Rogers Institute, White Plains, New York.
Hi, and welcome back.
Polka-pilled people are eating good in this episode.
Back to Prime Time. You know, if you watch Prime Time on a regular basis, well, it probably means that you need to get a personal life or hobbies of some kind.
Wow,
but
thanks,
it could
George.
also mean that you enjoy our regular musical guests.
Savvy guy tells us we're a loser for watching his content. This guy tells us we need to get a life.
And today's show is no exception because we have some people who have been hosting a radio show here at WREB in Holyoke for almost 20 years. They are Chet and Mary Lou Dragon. Well, Chet and Mary Lou, welcome to Prime Time.
I'm going to be honest. I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't Chet and what was it? Chet and Mary Lou Dragon? This is not what I pictured for these people.
Well, George, it's certainly a pleasure to be here. We've watched your show a couple of times. Of course, this is only the third one.
This is only the third one.
But you've been on, you tape an original show.
Hey, we've seen all your shows. There's only 2 other ones, bozo.
And then it's shown, let's see, 4 or 5 times.
See, these people were unwilling to go into a cool atmosphere.
In the course of the month, am I right?
You explained that quite well. You crystallized my thoughts.
It's just like Sunday morning.
It is right here at WREB. And
if you watching this, it's over for you.
You feel right at home?
Yes, I do.
And I feel right at home.
And I feel very honored to be on Prime Time.
Don't lose your head, Mary Lou.
And how did you first get started here in broadcasting at this fine establishment of WREB?
Well, it's kind of a strange situation. We got a call to do some broadcasting, and excuse me, Mary Lou and I had never broadcasted before. In fact, tell them what you thought, Mary Lou.
Well, here's something, Joe Shabatoni. Speaking of like people that take money and get lazy, we bring Savvy Guy in. We build the company around him. He's getting a salary. He's making some money. It's wrestling. We're gonna have some rats, so he's getting some box. He's got money in his pocket. He's getting the box. He's getting attention from the crowd. Will he be able to keep up his black pill character if he's experiencing the things in life that he says that he thinks are like the secrets to happiness? Or will he be like, well, I'm happy now, so I can't play that character anymore?
I decided it was a great idea if I could stay in the background.
Swingers?
And then maybe Chet could do the show alone, but they wanted a husband and wife team, so here we are, and I think I like it even more than Chet.
That's true. I'll tell you, I get home late on Saturday night. Sometimes I don't get home till Sunday morning, and I'm glad that Mary Lou is certainly there because sometimes I don't think I could make it without her. She does a super job. And as I say, it started off as a lark. We never thought we'd be on almost 20 years, George.
Almost 20 years, so
20
it's
years.
An anniversary.
It is, in effect, yeah. And we do enjoy it. It doesn't make any difference if it's snowing out or sleeting. We haven't missed a show yet. Of course, the times that we can't be here, either Brother Walter will do the show or we tape it. And as you know, you've engineered some of our shows for us.
Several times.
Yes, and you've been our guest several times, too.
But don't forget that Walter's wife, Emily, helps him do the show.
Yeah, Stephen David, and it's interesting from a narrative perspective because how does the crowd react to that? They don't like him when he's a black pill. I'm sure he would be a heel as a black pill character, except for a few heel fans. But then whenever he turns, does he become then a mega heel because then he's like Hollywood savvy guy? You know what I mean?
Show too.
I noticed that.
So it's a husband and wife team, no matter.
If the lottery commission should just cut me a check, we're missing so much time here. We're missing out on so many great storylines that could be happening.
Who does the show?
That's it.
And right now we're going to hear the Chet Dragon.
I feel like she'd be very polite while you were clapping. You know what I mean? I think she'd be really kind and a considerate lover.
Dragon Band in a...
Oh my God. God chose me when he sent Mark Fusion.
video that we recorded about
You know who I'll bring in when Savvy Guy starts to live the good life? That's when we bring in Jimmy.
a month ago. And what is the name of the song?
Well, let's do it like we do on Sunday morning, Mary Lou. You sometimes announce the tunes when I get a little...
You turned your back on God, and now you've turned your back on the fans. You sick, evil freak.
Mixed up, which is quite often on Sunday morning. So why don't you tell George what we're going to be
All right,
playing?
the first tune we're going to play then, the Chet Dragon Band, will be playing the Merry-Go-Round Polka.
this way since I was a kiddie of 3. That's when I started living dangerously. I used to like to ride on the craziest horse, one that went up and down. Is it any wonder then I so often get the yen to go riding the merry-go-round? Around and around you go, around and around you go. What a thrill when the band begins to play. For a dime you can ride your blues away.
It really is. I don't know if it's great, but it's like, I don't know, it's working somehow with all these drugs.
Around and around you go, around and around you go. When your sweetie in the rear says you ride like Paul Revere, it's the merry-go-round.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say that I would never become an on-screen character, but I would try to push it out as far as possible. Like, I would try to run as long as I could without becoming a character. This is how you get by.
I like to catch brass rings on the merry-go-round. The merry-go-round, hey, the merry-go-round. I've been this way since I was a kiddie.
And I wouldn't really play a character. I think I would just take like a bunch of edibles and then like come out to the ring and whatever happens, happens.
3. That's when I started living dangerously. I used to like to ride on the craziest horse, one that went up and down. Is it any wonder then I so often get the yen to go riding the merry-go-round? Around and around you go, around and around you go. What a thrill when the band begins to play.
I'd be like, "Hey Raven, can we get your retirement match, bro? I got this guy, Savvy Guy. I need you to put him over on the way out."
For a dime you can ride your blue.
What about me? He said. What about Raven? If you gotta ask, what about me? It's over for you, bro. You not pursued. You not chosen, Raven. What about you? What about Savvy Guy?
Away, around and around you.
Do you think Savvy Guy should hold the belt up during his promos and say, like, I thought about it when I saw that comment, this is how you get the box. If he'd hold up the belt and be like, you see this right here? This is how you get the box.
Go, around and around you go. When you're bobbing up and down, you're as happy as a clown on the merry-go-round.
Is that true, Bob? I always wondered about that.
So that was the merry-go-round polka. Sounded great, Chet.
Well, thank you very much, George.
OPC.
We have a lot of fun. We've recorded about...
OPC Don may appear as a character, but he will have to get dressed at a different venue. He would not be allowed into the locker room. I don't trust OPC Don. But I would let him perform, but he could not... he would have to be segregated.
I'd say about 7 albums.
7 albums.
Yeah. Our latest 2 have been with the top polka band in the country, Jimmy Sturr. He has a record company, as you know, the Star Record Company, and we're looking forward to doing another one. We have our arranger that arranges tunes. If he would get on the ball soon, maybe he would get the next
and he's
record
called...
He's called Ken Morey, the Lone Arranger.
The Lone Arranger.
I nicknamed him that, because he works by himself, and he arranges, so therefore the Lone Arranger.
And he does it alone.
And he does it alone, right.
Well, Chet, you've certainly been playing for a while.
As a matter of fact, I have. I hate to tell you.
I booked Keemstar and the Lolcows just for one angle where they come in and want to take over the... they want to come in and like take over. They want it to be like Lolcow wrestling. I think that would be fun. But they would... See, but the thing about all these storylines, honestly, is that you have to have people who want to do fun stuff and who have a sense of humor and are willing to, like Savvy Guy, I think 100% would go along with it just because it'd be a bunch, in this scenario, with this fantasy of winning the lottery, like obviously I would just pay him whatever it took to get him to to get him to do it. But in real life, people, even if you have a good idea, if it's not their idea, they might not like it, or if they feel like somebody else gets the better of them, and you got to be open to putting people over.
How many years I've been playing, George, but I played with such bands as...
Oh yeah, some of is really out there. We watched one on stream, I think, that was really outrageous. What's up, Avery?
Walt Solik, Gina Wisniewski. I played with Ray Henry. I played with Joe Rock, and I went to Poland with Jimmy Sturr's band, and about 25 years ago or so, I started my own band.
And you've been in the music business for about 50 years, I understand.
Yes, that's true.
You started when you were 3.
3. You're young, George, but you know. Mary Lou can tell you more about this.
Well, let's see, Chet. 50 years ago, you did start playing, but then I knew all along that you really wanted to have your own band. So when we got married 25 years ago, I encouraged you to have your own band. Sometimes I'm sorry now, but it sure was a lot of fun.
And I understand you're being honored at a testimonial this month.
Well, that's true, George. I'm really looking forward to it. It's not a surprise. My brother, the guys in the band, and Mary Lou got together. In fact, she'll explain it to you.
Would I hire Ruby Spacek? Yes, for sure.
Well, we thought
I would personally, like, I would picture her as a regular, but in reality, I think Ruby's best used as would be like the Bruiser Brody of my promotion.
for 50 years, after all, you really should have a testimonial. And after 25 years with your own band and almost 20 years at WREB, you deserve something, Chet.
So 50 years in the music business, 25 years with your own band, and almost 20 years on the radio. That is cause for a celebration. I understand we have another selection coming up by the Chet Dragon Band, and what is it?
It was written by our accordion player, Wally Suzuka. And as a matter of fact, Wally joined our band when he was 17 years old. He's been with us, about 15, 16 years, I guess, Mary Lou, something like that. It's a tune called...
I would say.
Who plays the rusty trombone? Ruby Spacek?
It's a tune called Wally's...
This lady ain't eating nobody's ass. Come on, man. She's just starfishing. She's just taking the dick. She's not doing anything else.
Betic. And, of course, we didn't know what to name it, so we thought this would be apropos. You know, Wally wrote it, so let's call it Wally's Obetic.
So let's take a look at that right now. It is Wally's Obetic.
People would also probably not like my wrestling company because I would want to bring back some of the old style gimmicks and stuff, and I think people would probably be upset about it. Well, if I have to just give an answer off the top, Ruby seems reluctantly willing to work, and it seems like she's doing pretty good at the bookstore, but Grace has been pretty vocal that she would rather die. So, but you never know. Grace could find a job, and then getting into a routine and everything could suit her. It might, I don't know. But if I had to just say off the top of my head, I would say Ruby. And I say that, and I think there is some basis for this too, because if you look at it, Ruby, even when she's going through it, she's streaming constantly. Whereas Grace kind of takes time off, which is, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I'm saying in a work environment, you're probably, someone who's more consistent is probably consistently working is probably going to last longer. And technically, if Grace has never had a job, all Ruby has to do is work one day and she wins, right? Looks like a lost Bon Air. goddamn, this is like the fucking free bird of polka. That woman. Man, you talk about a reveal. What if we could book Courtney for the wrestling company? Have the lights go out? Keep doing a thing where somebody's in the ring and the lights go out, and then when the lights come back on, they're like laid out, and just keep doing that for like a couple months, and then it's revealed that it's Courtney. Grace could keep trying to get booked on the show, and I'd tell her, like, look, Grace, I want you on the show, but nobody will wrestle you, nobody will work with you. And then eventually, like, it's known that someone has accepted the challenge, so then she's in the ring, and then that's when the lights go out for, like, the last time, and then when they come back on, they're, like, face-to-face. And whoever's doing the commentaries really gotta fucking give us a Jim Ross or a JR moment and really blow it up and really make it, like, epic. Grace starts crying in the face-off. She bails. She's running to the back, and that's when we get our big storyline moment of Ben coming out from the back after he's been banned from appearing on screen. So Ben runs out, and everybody thinks Ben's coming out to comfort her, but instead he's telling her to get her ass in the ring and finish the job.
G-Chet, that sounded great.
Well, it was a good record company. It still is, as a matter of fact. We record for the Star Record people, as I mentioned earlier. Jimmy Sturr owns the company, and of course, when he records with 10 people, we record with 5 and 6. It makes a big difference, but he does a good job for us.
He certainly does. And I want to thank you and Mary Lou for being my guests here on Primetime, and it certainly was a pleasure coming up to this fine WREB studio.
Well, it's our pleasure. I really enjoyed myself, George, and I'd love to do it again sometime.
We certainly will. I'd love to have you back.
Again, my sentiments exactly.
Random sexual remarks about her. Mary Lou Dragon, what a name. Courtney versus Grace. Winner gets custody of Ben.
George, we had a wonderful time here, and but we want to congratulate you, too, on your television show, Primetime, which we are appearing on now.
You are appearing.
That couldn't main event because I couldn't put anything above the world title, but we'd have that, and then we'd like, you have to have a cooler after a hot match like that. You got to have a cooler, and we'd bring Lo out to do an interview to give everybody a chance to use the restroom or go to the concession stand, and then come back for the Savvy Guy match.
Obviously, it's happening.
We wish you a lot of success.
Why, thank you. And we'll be back with more Primetime after this.
So he's out of Massachusetts. This show is Holyoke.
Take the classics home tonight. Borrow them free from the Chicopee Public Library. Adventure, romance, science, drama. Thanks to a grant from the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, these great programs are available to library patrons. Groups and organizations may want to show a nova or a classic short story at a meeting. All are available now on home VHS videotape. Call or visit the Chicopee Public Library.
Yes, welcome back to Primetime, and as I can see on my nice Rolex here, we're just about out of time. But I'd like to thank all my guests, Chet and Mary Lou Dragon, along with wrestling...
All right, let's watch one more.
Legend Killer Kowalski, and I'd also like to thank the people here at the
I gotta grab another drink.
Bennett Turkey Farm. I'm gonna pick up my turkey just as soon as we're through here. And do join us again next time on Prime Time. Good night, everybody.
I wouldn't hire Lalo. Yeah, I have the Choose. I usually had my Choose Death shirt on. Yeah. We think about these great epic moments, how fun, how crazy it would be, but the people in the audience would be like, "Who the hell is this Savvy guy? What the hell is this guy talking about?" Mont Blanc, the Chet Dragon Band. Mont Blanc pens. Oh, damn it.
Hi, folks. You know, whenever you hear...
Hold on, I want to see it again. Oh, too soon. Okay, here we go. Primetime number 4, Entertainers, Herbert's Child's Toys, CHS Chorus. Seems like kind of a...
Hi, folks. You know, whenever you hear that merry sound of jingling bells or see that colorful swirl of bright lights, it can only mean one thing.
Oh, I see. Now it's a Christmas episode.
Yes, you've had some kind of minor stroke and should consult a specialist. Or it could really mean it's time for our primetime holiday spectacular.
Mary Lou. No, she doesn't, man. I'm telling you, Mary Lou Mary Lou would not even, she would call doggy style like animal style because it's offensive. Like, there's no way, dude. She's taking quiet, calm, well-paced missionary.
Hi, I'm George Dorunda, and welcome to...
Mary Lou's the kind of girl, like, after the dude finishes, she's like, well, that was delightful.
To Primetime, and what a show we have for you. You know, we are right in the middle of the holiday season, like I need to tell you people that. And here at Primetime, we try to do something extra special. Something filled with all the love, warmth, and sentiment that I'm capable of faking for 30 minutes at one stretch.
I don't know.
But we really
Yes
do
or
have a
not?
good show for you. We're here at the Ingleside Christmas House, and coming up on the big show,
Christmas house.
we have the Chicopee High School Chorus. We'll be watching them
Christmas
make
house.
chocolate Santas at Hebert's Candy Factory, and we have Chip Childs, who will be showing us some of today's Christmas toys. But let's get the Power Pack show underway. Yes, it's a song that I wrote, and here we go with the Entertainers and An Old-Fashioned Christmas.
I've read quite a few like things on Reddit over the years of women who just got tired, who liked their husband, but they didn't want to have sex with him anymore, and so they would just let him do that, just so that they didn't have to do it. I would be like, what? fuck?
We'll have an old-fashioned Christmas, and every sir and missus will swear a better holiday there never ever could be. We'll have an outdated Yuletide, a gray and dusty old time. It can't be too old-fashioned for me.
Why does the voice have like a distortion on it like that? It's very scary.
A chocolate Santa with the face half eaten will make a perfect centerpiece next to the pumpkin pie. We'll bring back ancient customs.
Like, is this real, or is this something that like YouTube AI is so good at like algorithming that it knows that I can't help but watch all 100 episodes of this?
That have gone way out of style. The older folks will smile, or at least they'll give a try. When the clock strikes midnight, we'll eat our Christmas supper. And if the food is fattening, then we'll shout and cry hooray. Because we all have voted, we'd rather be outmoded on this old-fashioned Christmas day.
What do you think the instructions were to, like, to these people when they were shooting? Like, you know, hey, everybody, listen, let's keep it loose, let's keep it natural, let's just be yourself, enjoy, get into the music, enjoy the flow of the music. Like, it looks like they told him to, like, be as creepy as possible. Like, the drummer especially, he's just, like, dead-eyed staring into the camera.
Chocolate Santa with the face half eaten will make a perfect centerpiece next to the pumpkin pie. We'll bring back ancient customs that have gone way out of style. The older folks will smile, or at least they'll give
I'm gonna
a
have a psychotic break.
When the clock strikes midnight, we'll eat our Christmas supper. And if the food is fattening, then we'll shout and cry hooray. Because we all have voted, we'd rather be outmoded on this old-fashioned Christmas day.
Willie boy, I'm glad we're doing this thing together.
Yeah, that's because we share the same feelings about space technology.
That's right. And it's led to benefits for all of us, too.
Like this little gizmo. It's a medical system that's implanted.
That means it releases medication automatically. Are you listening?
And they believe it'll be the way to treat diseases like diabetes in the years ahead.
And it came from space research.
One of the down-to-earth benefits for everyone.
Willie, me, and you.
Space technology.
This is what's in it for you.
Cool. I think I'm reconnected. As long as we don't get another, sometimes it does a second dropout. I'm just being safe. What do you think? I think we're good. That's true. These kind of millions of dollars.
Many years ago, you
Yes,
are
1917. We're in our third generation of candy makers.
A 60-second outage like that costs our company dearly. I'll have to lay off 4 employees.
My husband's grandfather, who started it in 1917 with a very small purchase of, I believe, $11. He bought a kettle, a thermometer, a marble slab, and started out of his house with some of his own recipes, which we still utilize today. And that's
for
how it all began.
$11. He started this whole operation.
That's right.
Now here we're going to be looking at some of your operation, and you don't just make chocolate Santas, you actually have a wide variety of chocolate goodies.
That is correct. We have...
He thought they were... I would try to get her trapped in the minutia of the idea of that I was mystified by the fact that you can make chocolate in any shape, and that I have no idea how you would make chocolate in like all these shapes, and just see how long she would like engage on the topic.
We have quite a variety. We can please any sweet tooth.
Oh my.
We have box chocolates right down to little chocolate pops.
And this is the largest chocolate Santa that I've ever seen. What is it? Must weigh about 50 pounds, right?
Well, it weighs a little over 5 pounds. But if you had to eat the whole thing, I think you would believe you ate 50 pounds.
I don't think I'll be trying. Not today, anyway. So what's next on the agenda? Where should we start our tour of the Hebert Candy Factory?
Well, I think that it might be advantageous for us to see how Santa was made and where he's made and just who makes them and see the hands that are really in the chocolate.
This is handmade chocolate.
It is. Everything is
Hands in the
handmade,
chocolate.
family, quality controlled.
So as we could say, completely touched by human hands.
That's right.
So what department are we in now? I see these nice baskets here, and the ladies are busy here assembling.
They certainly are. This is called the loft. This is our novelty department. And as you can see, everything here is handmade. And these ladies are not just people who put baskets together. They are craftspeople, and they know exactly how to put these together, what to put in them, and come out beautiful.
In other words, if I were to do this, I would probably like take this here, and let's see, let's put that in there somehow.
You're missing a paper.
Is that all we have?
No, you're doing it wrong already.
You take a couple of these, and throw them in there. Oh, wait a minute, there's room up here in the front.
Well, that really wouldn't be the quality that we would be.
So Heberts would never do anything like this.
No, we wouldn't stand for that sort of thing, I'm afraid. It has to be just right.
I'm out of a job already.
just what our customers want is what we do, and they want the best. So we make sure that everything is
And this
done
one's almost
perfectly.
finished over here.
Yes, it is. Millie's almost done over here.
You're Millie.
ATF Media really enjoys relaxed, casual paced missionary.
I'm Millie, yes.
And you assemble these baskets?
I do.
You ever take a
No pressure, just stroking.
taste?
Oh, yes, they allow us to.
Once in a while.
They
you
allow
take
us
it.
once in a while. Very good candy. It's delicious.
And this is what they're supposed to look like.
Yeah.
So certainly my tactics wouldn't be acceptable here.
No, I'm afraid.
I would have to go into a training
Good
period.
Lord.
I think so. Quite a training period.
Well, I
Those are some even for the 80s, those are pretty wild shoulder pads.
eat chocolates.
Or
but-
maybe even another department.
Can I be in the tasting? Do you have a tasting department?
We have quality control. I don't think we have an opening there, though. We always have more people that want to do that than we have openings.
Well, if there's ever an opening. And where are we now? I see these ladies. This does look like Lucille Ball.
It does. It really does. This
Ben
is the
was
packing
18.
belt. And today we're packing a 2-pound fancy assortment, and they're putting the top layer on.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see everyone is assigned their own flavors of chocolates.
And so many of each flavor
That's
goes
right.
in.
Goes into the box. They all know the pattern.
Once again, everything is completely touched by human hands.
Yes, it is.
Almost.
Yes, well, they use finger cots, but we do everything by hand. Everything is still packed by hand, individually. Would you like to try a sample?
Why, certainly. I've never been one.
You know what video I saw? And speaking of like the idea of people smoking while they're working around food, I was watching a video of some guy that was just at like a grocery store or something, and there was a guy working on. He was like working on a piece of like the shelving unit that holds like all the fresh produce. And for some reason, he just started using this grinder on the metal, and it was like throwing like, sparks and metal all over all this food. And this guy that was filming him got into it with him and like his boss and another guy. It was a really strange clip.
To refuse chocolate.
Okay. All right, these were just made this morning. These are called coconut dainties, and they're just out of this world.
Fresh coconut
well, everything
dainties.
is fresh, but these are super fresh.
Fresh coconut dainties.
Dainties.
Mm.
What's up, Afro?
So what do you think?
Nothing in the world like them.
Sure you don't have to have another sample to make sure.
I might have to.
Just to be sure.
Coconut dainty. I'm ready. Well, this looks like we're tasting vanilla or chocolate soup.
Okay, what they're doing here is they're making chocolate fudge and panucci fudge, and the other kettle is
This is what fudge really looks Looks like.
Yes, this is
before.
real fudge, real pure ingredients, real sugar, real butter, real cream, no preservatives. This is how you really make fudge.
It's not like the countertop fudge you make at home.
No,
and
no.
what is it, 30 minutes from package to plate?
Well, that's not something that we would want to put our name on. But you can see our thermometer here is getting up there. When it gets to 231, then Michael is going to be putting the chocolate in. Barry here is working on the batch to keep it consistent. They know what they're doing. They're experts at this. Mike can tell you more about that if you have questions.
Well, Mike, when you're making fudge, it all starts out
Oh, this is good. He got it. They're letting him talk to the employees.
as white fudge, and then you add chocolate.
Well, the basic ingredients are the sugar, corn syrup, and salt, and 7 quarts of cream.
7 quarts of cream.
Yeah. And then we mix it up, cook it up. That's what it's doing right now. We're going to cook it up to 232. And then we're going to be adding chocolate liquor in. And that's what makes the chocolate fudge.
Now, how much, like all this mixture with 6 quarts of cream, how much fudge will this yield?
Let's see, approximately about 50 pounds.
50 pounds of fudge.
50 pounds.
These are those little wafers that people buy in the stores and they think that they're making chocolate pops. And what it is, it's chocolate-flavored vegetable shortening. That's why if you eat those homemade pops, it coats your mouth. Because it really isn't chocolate at all.
It really isn't real chocolate, but
No,
this
it's not.
is real
Fake
chocolate.
ass
Yeah,
chocolate.
when we go further down, you'll see that.
And I see Marguerite does many jobs
Yes,
here.
Marguerite really knows her stuff. I don't know what we'd do without Marguerite. As you can see, this is real
Marguerite really knows her sugar.
chocolate. It's gone down on a tempering unit, which has put a real chocolate bottom on the fudge piece.
Chocolate bottom,
Moves further down the
PTO.
belt, and then goes into the part of the machine which is called the enrober, because it enrobes the piece.
Oh, no way, enrobing. Wow, there's some product at the store that it says enrobed on it, and I always thought that was the funniest word, and now there's a machine that's called the enrober.
In chocolate. You can see it coming out here. And Beverly is putting on the
Beverly.
fancy string. She's a stringer today. And you can see these.
Beverly's down here on the stringer. She's running the stringer today. She's got to finger all the chocolates.
The lines that are made with dark chocolate to make the piece just more of a fancy piece.
How is this cost effective?
So this is both light and dark chocolate.
It's white chocolate and dark chocolate, yes.
I mean, I think it's much better this way, but it's wild. It just seems so involved.
And as you can see, it's moving down the belt and then goes into the part of the machine that's called the
Kroger chocolate covered cookies are enrobed.
cooling tunnel. Because this is fine chocolate, it has to be tempered and cooled properly. And the cooling tunnel keeps it at a constant temperature so that we get the natural shine from the cocoa butter and it sets up just right.
Now this is the end of the cooling tunnel.
That's right.
Gee, I'm getting good at this. I could open up my own chocolate factory.
Oh, I don't know about that, but you're getting pretty good at it.
Hey, I've spent 10 minutes in here. I could probably open my own place.
Yes, this is when the chocolate is set up properly.
Oh, it's so
It
hot.
comes out of the cooling tunnel. And these lovely ladies take off the product, pack the boxes, and then they're put on a skid and moved
This could be a star here. It could be a YouTuber.
over to the packing room to be put into the prospective product boxes.
Well, Jeannie, I've been waiting all day. It's fine. We saw all the other segments of the operation. But I'm waiting for the chocolate Santa.
Well, here we are. This is where we make the chocolate Santas. Michelle Hebert is in charge of our chocolate molding department. And as you can see now, she's making a chocolate Santa even as we speak.
Man, this show is pretty amazing, to be honest. It reminds me of those... remember on, like, every great once in a while on, like, Mr. Rogers, they would have, like... You would take a field trip, and it was all... Even if it was just, like, going to the toothpaste factory, it was always, like, the video was always really cool. I feel like all of these are just, like, little field trips to go to different, like, interesting places or people.
Well, Michelle, this is what a chocolate Santa originally comes out like.
That's the end result.
That's the
This
end
is
result.
the beginning.
It starts out with this mold.
First, we need the mold, and it's the two separate halves. And what I'm doing now is clipping it together, and I take it over here to the tank, and I just slowly.
Now, these plastic molds around the chocolate, you take those off. We don't... Those are not still on at retail. We're not eating the plastic, right?
Fill it. Don't want to go too fast because then that'll form air bubbles, and you really don't want to get air bubbles. Just pour it in very slow. Slowly roll it around. I'm making the first shell. It's actually just a shell that I'm going to make. And then all this will be dumped out into the tank. And I'll put this in the cold room where it's cool.
So she's making the hard chocolate shell. Okay.
For about 5 minutes. And then I'll add another coating like this. Now I dump the excess out. I'll fill them a second time and dump the excess chocolate out, and then I'll sit them right on top of that.
And that's what
is this? What's the pace here? How many chocolate Santas are coming out per hour?
makes the bottom.
That's what makes the bottom. Just like, and then the bottom just snaps away. So then he's completely sealed.
And what are these called? Santa remnants?
Samples.
Samples. Samples. I like samples. Well, Jeannie, what a day we've had here at your fine establishment. Some of the finest chocolate.
That's a really cool job title, though. Like, if you tell people that in common conversation, that's got a good, like, it's got some zip to it. Well, I'm a chocolatier.
I finally got to see my chocolate Santas being made.
Yeah, it was worth the wait, wasn't it?
That's been my dream.
He has 2 ice creams in front of himself and none for shoulder pads.
And we saw fudge and...
dreams do come true.
I can't even
You
count.
didn't even see everything. There's too much to see, too much to put into one show.
Well, we certainly will have to come back again. And what I see in front of me here, you also have ice cream.
Yes, we do. We have...
Do you think he asked if he could, like, load up the car with free chocolates?
Fine farm-made ice cream. And the best part is you pick what flavor you want, and then you make your own sundae. There's a Sunday buffet bar.
I've made my own here. I think I did a little better than making the baskets.
Yes, you did. You did a very good job.
I could be a sundae maker, only
Yes.
it's make your own sundae, so there's no job for me here.
But then you have to eat it.
Well, I certainly think I can handle that. Mark, I even made one for you. Why don't you call our cameraman, Mark, the Mark Bro character.
Come on, let's move. Let's get into frame here.
Yes, Mark, step right in front of the camera. Mark's going to join us. We're going to have our ice cream, and we'll be back with more prime time after this. Thank you, Jeannie. This was great.
No smoking, please. I think there's only like 91 more episodes of this show, guys. Oh my God, VP, what's up?
Please.
Can we get some USA flags in the chat for Vegan Patriot? You shared the stream to your wall? All right. Thanks, VP. Hopefully they like model trains with George Dorunda.
My next guest knows more about toys than most people will ever forget. He is kind of a toy expert. He is the proprietor of Child's Toy Store and Hobbies in Northampton. He is Chip Childs. Well, Chip, welcome to Prime Time.
So his name is Childs. Of course, VP, we're eating good. We got George Dorunda taking us on a tour of the 80s.
Thank you. The big show. And I see these trains moving around us here. And you started out as a paint store years and years ago.
Back in the early 60s, my father started the business as a paint contracting business and later turned it into what you see here.
So
it does seem like kind of a weird vibe, like with some of the usual creators.
Tell us about the trains. How does one get into these amazing models?
Well, there's a number of different scales that you can model.
All right, see you later, VP.
You can go from the tiny Z-scale trains all the way up to what's running in the back here, which is G-scale trains. The 2 or 3 sizes in between.
And the price is a difference, I'm sure.
Prices vary the whole gamut. You can go from a $1995 starter set all the way up to $3,000 engine.
And what is it that we see here running now?
What we see here is a combination G-scale and O-scale. The one that's making the noise and running around here is G-scale, and on the other end of the layout we have an O-scale layout.
And would it be safe to say that trains are just as
How do you guys feel about an O-scale?
big now as they ever were?
The train business now is...
I think if we're talking about an O-scale, you would have to put Mary Lou pretty low. It doesn't seem like she would really come that hard, to be honest. She seems like she could get off, but it'd be very like, she'd just be like, oh, that was enjoyable, and that'd be it. Like, so I feel like her O-scale is pretty low.
Is probably blossomed over the last 4 or 5 years. It's gotten to be a lot bigger than it has back in the 50s, 60s, and even 70s. The 80s have really seen a big boom in different scales and interest.
So more people are into trains now than ever before.
Absolutely.
And what are some of the other hot items that are available this Christmas?
Well, there's no real hot item in particular this year.
Man, the turtle blimp. Oh my gosh. Wow. Big blow up blimp. Amazing. Ugh. Where's Richard Ramirez?
A combination.
Blows up 30 inches long. Hell yeah.
Of different toys or items in different categories. There's no real standout toy this year.
And I understand we have some new Nerf products this season.
He's like, hey, do you have any products you'd like to highlight? Nothing is special this year.
That's correct. It's a new design Nerf ball called a Turbo Nerf.
A Turbo Nerf.
Turbo.
No batteries required.
That's correct. With this design...
Man, you guys can't even understand the foundational shift in kid culture when the Nerf balls went turbo. I mean, it was like it's a before and after moment in time.
You should be able to throw this farther, spirals better, and I guess a lot faster.
Here, Mark, catch! Well, I see we have some new games this season, and Donald Trump, one of my items.
What? Trump and Shark Attack. Wow. Is this AI? Is this all just like... Is this like part of the whole like psyops of keeping people distracted? Is it this? There's 97 episodes of this AI generated show like specifically to fuck with my head.
What is this? How to become a billionaire?
Well, a couple of the new hottest games this year is the Trump game from Milton Bradley. This game is very similar to like a Monopoly game where you try and outbid your opponent for pieces of property, I guess. And I guess it all boils down to this. The heading, which it says, is it's not whether you win or lose, but whether you win. A typical Donald Trump saying, perhaps.
A good motto.
It's not whether you win or lose, it's whether you win.
To teach the kids of America. And how about some kiddie games?
New kid game this year would be the Shark Attack, which is a motorized shark that follows a game.
Sometimes when I end the stream, and it's also because I'm usually pretty high by then, but like, I'm just like, did that really happen? Did I just watch like on the days I'd be like, did I just watch like old VHS tapes for 8 hours with strangers on the internet?
Game pieces around on the board, and if you're not fast enough, it eats you up. It's for the younger kids, ages 5 and up.
But where are we going to find a 5-year-old?
Well, I don't know. We don't have anyone here today.
And with the advancement of technology...
Oh my god, Shit, the Typhoon. Yo. Oh my god, wow. I remember the Typhoon.
I see we have a few new radio-controlled toys here.
Well, radio control was probably one of the most popular categories last year in the toy industry. And
well, it's like they always used to say back in the day, win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat.
And it will be also as popular this year. There's a few new wrinkles in the category. Tyco has come out with a hovercraft, which runs on land and water. So this is a great thing for a pool, or you can just run it around in your backyard.
Or in your bathtub or whatever.
If your bathtub is big enough, sure. The best selling point of this type of thing is it goes on land or water.
Well, hyper racers for hyper people.
Well, the hyper racers.
Yeah, I remember fast tracks.
Is a new category introduced this year into this country. It's been very popular the last 2 years in Japan. What a hyper racer is they come two ways. They come in kit form, or they come built up. And what they are is a super fast battery operated car.
So hyper racer would be appropriate.
That's correct.
And let's see one operate here.
All right.
Are we going to have a race?
We can put it on the racetrack here for you. And as you can see,
well, Chip, let's show the folks a reason why I never got married.
Okay.
And what is this here?
This is a new doll by Tyco called Oopsie Daisy Doll. What she does is she crawls, falls, and then cries.
Just like a real kid.
That. Gets right back up again.
Quiet. See, she listens though, unlike real kids. And I see here something that looks like a pretty indestructible dollhouse.
New dollhouse by Little Tykes this year. The best feature of this is it's accessible from all sides for the little kids to play with. It also comes with all kinds of little accessories, which are the exact miniature reproduction of what Little Tykes makes in their real toys. Probably a complete sellout before Christmas.
Really?
We just can't get enough of them.
Well, Chip, Barbie, I understand, is some 30 years old. I remember when I was a kid, all the young girls were playing with their little Barbie dolls. Things have changed.
Well, Barbie's become more and more popular in the last few years. The category's really taken off. They've come out with a lot of limited edition type of items.
This dude, like, no shit, he's got a pretty impressive store here. Like, I thought at first he was just going to be like one of those little hobby shops, but he's actually got a huge fucking toy store.
Or collectibles.
A lot of collectibles.
You got any LJNs in there, brother?
Collectibles. They've come out with the last couple of years a holiday Barbie, which is very, very
that iconic Fisher-Price castle.
Hard to find.
A holiday Barbie.
Yes. Limited edition 1988-89 signature type of Barbie doll that has a fancy clothes and very limited. They also have a number of new things out in Barbie, including the UNICEF Barbie, which comes in a variety of different countries with the country costumes.
Kind of an international Barbie.
Something like that. An old international Barbie look, right?
And I have something here called
Army Barbie.
Army Barbie.
Barbie dressed up in her army outfit.
Barbie joins the army. And wait a minute, what kind of...
Well, she's 30 years old now.
And is this Barbie when she's 70?
That's... Let's hope not.
What is this creature?
This is a troll.
Not connected with the Barbie line at all,
Not
but
at all.
This just caught my attention here.
These trolls were very popular in the 60s, starting to come back a little.
Well, Chip, the Batman series certainly has been popular.
Oh, cool.
I see Batman has been sold out already, and all we have left is Robin.
Bat category is very hot this year. Bat figures, Batmobiles, Bat capes, Bat cars, anything in Batman was hot.
Well, Chip, I want to thank you for having us here and for appearing on Prime Time and showing us all of the Christmas toys for this coming year.
Well, you're entirely welcome, and thanks for coming.
And hopefully some of our viewers have some ideas for Christmas gifts, or
hope we can help them.
Okay,
thanks.
Thanks again, and we'll be back with more Prime Time after this.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an excuse to have a bunch of different instead of just asking people to buy buy the clothing. You get the soft good. You get them to buy a whole new doll and then donate like 0.05% to the money to UNICEF.
Seems some misguided individuals out there are abusing our public lands, and I don't like it. And I don't think you do either. Vandalizing parks and robbing historic sites or overrunning wild areas, those are ours, and we have to save them. As I see it, these clowns can either clean up their act or get out of town.
These clowns.
Write Take Pride in America. Post Office Box 1339, Jessup, Maryland 20794.
Welcome back to Prime Time. You know, chestnuts roasting on an open fire and Jack Frost is nipping at my nose, and it looks like it'll take about 10 stitches to close it up. What a great chorus. But another great chorus comes to mind. Yes, it's the Chicopee High School chorus under the direction of Mr. Alan Sittard, and they'll be singing for us, Sing Ye Noel. Hey, you guys, no dancing unless you absolutely have to.
Hard to believe he's still alive. I just see everything through a who's being how is this being aggressively monetized rather than like the social aspect of it. I look at it like, what are they trying to, what's the financial motivation? Look at this hairstyle. What a heartwarming rendition. Wait, how old was Ben when this was made? He likes to sing. Maybe he was involved in the choir. He got all the hairy muff. You think this is an 89? Probably.
Yes, sounded great. Alan Sittard and the Chicopee High School Chorus.
Alan Sittard.
Well, it's just about that time, and I'd like to thank all my guests, the Chicopee High Chorus, along with Jeannie Hebert, Chip Childs, and the entertainers. And I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope that you'll have a wonderful holiday season. In the meantime, I'm going to be spending the next few days hooking into my neighbor's power supply to power my spectacular outdoor Christmas display. Do join us again next time on Prime Time. Good night, everybody.
Old-fashioned Christmas, and every sir and missus will swear a better holiday there never ever could be.
Oh, look, all the lettering and shit is like red and green.
Outdated Yuletide, a gray and dusty old time. It can't be too old-fashioned for me. A chocolate Santa
Harry
with
Muff
the
smells
face
wonderful,
half
says
eaten
Eddie.
will make a perfect centerpiece
Fair.
next to the pumpkin pie.
Evolutionarily speaking, I think that's part of it, isn't it? The pheromones.
We'll bring back ancient customs.
Oh my God, look at this.
The older folks will smile, or at least they'll give it a try. When it strikes midnight, we'll eat our Christmas supper. And if the food is fattening, then we'll shout and cry hooray, because we all have voted. We'd rather be outvoted on this old-fashioned Christmas day.
Entertainment. Wasn't Rim Jobs the place you take your car to like lower your heat level in one of the either Grand Theft Auto or Saints Row?
A chocolate Santa with the face half eaten will make a perfect centerpiece next to the pumpkin pie.
All right, I gotta go. We'll definitely. Oh my God, we'll get a little bit of a preview, I guess, of the next episode. Carolyn Lee, Secret, and Don McCrae is what's coming up the next time we check in with George Dorunda. I'll be here tomorrow for. I made an executive decision because I got lazy and high and I didn't feel like messing with it. So we're just gonna. And I also did actually look forward, and it looks like we're coming up on one of the like hottest feuds in Memphis history. Tommy Rich and Jerry Lawler, and like this huge spectacle. And then I've also been reading a lot about like that 87 was the year that everything really shifted and the territories died. So I thought that might be kind of fun. So I'm just going to we're going to keep going, and we're going to start with the first episode in 1987 of Memphis. And Virgil is coming into the territories. So that's something to look forward to. Anyway, I got to go, but I will see you guys later. Thanks for hanging.